I'm
Get ready to go.
As ever, I probably will ever be.
Hi, and welcome to tonight's reading of Dead Poets Society with the Quarantine Theater Company. I'm going to be messing up words all day long because I'm seeing description, and I'm going to be playing Charlie Dalton. And I've had a very long, tiresome day. Anyway, so without further ado, who do we have with us tonight? We have Jeremy's Forehead. Yeah! Jeremy's Forehead will be reading for the part of John Keating, as well as various other parts. We have Jennifer reading as Neil Perry and various other parts. We have Travis reading for Todd Anderson. I don't know why I say it that way. And many, many other parts. And last but very not least, we've got Kevin with us. He is going to be reading for Knox Overstreet and my personal favorite name for a douchebag ever, Chet. Yeah, and many, many other parts. So without further ado, I'm gonna get in it. All right. We have Dead Poets Society by Todd Schulman. Hold on just a moment. Oh, I can't do that or whatever. Anyway, all right. Hello, this is my cat. He who dream hath possessed knoweth no more doubting. O'Sheil. I don't know, it's a quote before the screen or the script. Interior Welton Academy dining hall day. Various shots, credits roll. On the left is a life-size mural depicting a group of young schoolboys looking up adoringly at a woman who represents liberty. On the right is a mural showing young men gathered around an industrialist in a corporate boardroom, not ballroom, corporate ballroom. No. Between the murals stands a boy. An odd, blaring musical sound starts and stops, interrupted by the noise of pumping. A teacher hurries to the boy, adjusts his tie, and leads him off. Another wall is a full-size portrait of a 19th century Scotsman in a kilt. In the front of this, young boys carrying banners and several elderly men in old-fashioned costumes assembly into a processional formation. Nervous younger boys, 7th graders, are shown in their places in line and handed candles. They light each other's candles until all their candles are lit. Suddenly, music blasts forth in its full splendor. It's a bagpipe. Fuck yeah, I love bagpipes. The bagpiper in a kilt, like the one in the portrait, begins a processional march. Somebody had bagpipes, play them now, please. In a corridor adjacent to the dining room, same. The bagpiper enters a long slate in a stone hallway. The haunting timbre is an antiquated instrument and reverberates through the building. Momentarily, he is followed by the other processional marchers. He leads them down the corridor and down to a threshold staircase into Interior Welton's old stone chapel, continuous, where 200 high school aged boys, most of whom wear black blazers, sit on either side of the central aisle, watching the procession move into the dais in front. Besides, most of these boys are their parents. Hi, I love you too. Various angles on the procession. 4 16-year-old boys carry banners. Each boy is dressed in an archaic turn-of-the-century outfit. Each banner is emblazoned a different word. One reads tradition, the other reads honor, the third reads discipline, and the last reads excellence. The elderly men in their 70s and 80s, obviously the school's oldest alumni, each wearing a name tag and the uniform of his day, make their way towards the stage. 7th graders carrying candles are nervous and self-conscious. Most concentrate intently on keeping their candles lit while they march. One young boy's candle has gone out, but he can barely keep from crying. The bagpiper stands in the corner of the dais, marching in place. Behind him in black robes sit the school's 30-odd teachers. The processional's elderly alumni fill the chairs in honor on the dais. The 4 young banner characters peel off from the main aisle and take seats beside their parents in the audience. The 7th graders take seats with their parents too. A purple and black robed man who brings up the rear of the procession walks up to the podium. He is Headmaster Gale Nolan, a big man in his 60s, and the music stops. Kevin, that's you. Kevin, you're
Oh, Kevin.
Are you there? Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished alumni and students, this year marks the 100th year that Walton Academy has been in existence.
Hold on, I'm trying, hold on. Applause begins. Soon the whole room is standing in a thunderous ovation. After an appropriate amount of time, Nolan motions for everyone to be seated.
100 years ago, in 1859, 41 boys sat in this room and were asked the same question that now greets you at the start of each semester. Gentlemen, what are the 4 pillars?
All the students stand at attention. Find Todd Anderson sitting between his parents. Todd is 16, good looking, but seems beaten down, lacking confidence, unhappy. He wears a name tag and no Welton blazer. When others stand, Todd's mother nudges in. Todd stands. He watches at the other students. Tradition.
Tradition. Honor.
Discipline. Excellence.
Excellence.
All the boys sit. Todd sits too.
In her first year, Welton Academy graduated 5 students. Last year, we graduated 51, and over 75% of those went to the Ivy League.
Knox Overstreet and Charlie Dalton, both 16, both Welton Blazers. Knox has curly hair, looks outgoing, is short but well built. Charlie, also with his parents' handsome yet friendly face, who carries no banner, but Nolan mentions Ivy League. Both these boys fit the bill.
This kind of accomplishment is the result of fervent dedication to the principles taught here. This is why your parents have been sending us your students, your sons, and this is why we are the best preparatory school in the United States. New students.
Everyone looks at the new students and the transfer students. Todd is among them, and he looks incredibly self-conscious.
The key to your success rests on our 4 pillars. These are the bywords of this school, and they will become the cornerstones of your lives. Welton Society candidate Richard Cameron.
Yes, sir.
What is tradition?
Tradition, Mr. Nolan, is love of school, country, and family. Our tradition at Welton is to be the best.
Good, Mr. Cameron. Welton Society candidate George Hopkins. Honor.
Honor is dignity and the fulfillment of duty.
Good. Mr. Hopkins. Honor Society candidate Knox Overstreet. Knox, as mentioned, is a banner holder. Yes, sir. What is discipline? Discipline is respect for parents, teachers, headmaster. Discipline comes from within. Thank you, Mr. Overstreet. Honor candidate Neil Perry.
I'm getting deluged by cat hair. Knox sits. Knox's proud father and mother give him pats of encouragement. Neil Perry stands, whereas some boys have 2 or 3 achievement pens on the lapels of their coats. Neil has a huge cluster of them on the pocket of his jacket. Neil is 16 and tense, a born leader. However, there is more than a hint of anger and dissatisfaction in his eyes. Besides him sits his unsmiling father, Mr. Perry.
Excellent, Mr. Perry.
Excellence is the result of hard work. Excellence is the key to all success in school and everywhere.
Gentlemen, at Welton, you will work harder than you ever worked in your lives, and your reward will be the success that all of us expect of you. I would now like to call to the podium Welton's oldest living graduate, Mr. Alexander Carmichael Jr., class of 1866.
Jesus Christ, an octogenarian on stage shuns help from those beside him and makes his way slowly, excruciating slowly, to the podium as the audience rises to another standing ovation. Dissolve 2, exterior Welton Academy, main lawn day. The Welton Academy is a cluster of traditional weathered stone buildings. The time is 1959, but at Welton, this is irrelevant. The school with its traditions is completely isolated from the politics or trends of the outside world. The students stand with their parents under a giant tent. Finger food, coffee, tea, punch are laid out on a white cloth table. Charlie's mother stands dotingly fixing Charlie's hair. Then she kisses him. Knox's father has his hand affectionately around his son. Mr. Perry stands adjusting the achievement pins on Neil's jacket. Todd Anderson's parents stand chatting with another couple, paying no attention to Todd, who looks very much alone. Mr. Nolan walks by and looks at Todd's name tag.
Ah, Mr. Anderson. You have some big shoes to fill, young man. Your brother was one of our best.
Thank you.
Neil's father now in tow approaches Nolan.
Gail, what's this I hear about a new junior English teacher? Mr. Gladden took the headmaster's post at Malford, so we've hired John Keating. A former student, I hear? A star student, Mr. Perry, and he spent the last 10 years teaching at the Macmillan School in Edinburgh. Oh, Macmillan.
Nolan looks around. He finds, then indicates, across the lawn, a black-robed teacher stands with his back to us, staring at the beautiful Welton Lake. As if he sensed he was being watched, she turns and faces us. This is John Keating, late 30s, oh, he was so young, sparkling eyes. Nolan puts his arm on Mr. Perry's shoulder and leads him off.
Come meet him. You'll like him.
We watch Nolan escort Mr. Perry across the lawn and introduce him to Mr. Keating, who walks up to greet him. Todd stands alone, looking around. Neil Perry, now left alone, does the same. Both watch the other students saying goodbyes to their parents. Exterior parking lot day, the 7th graders are saying goodbye to their parents. Chins quiver, young eyes hold back tears. Some boys sob. For most of these young boys, this is the first time in their lives that they will be away from their parents and their homes. It is a devastating experience. Exterior long shot, Welton Academy, scene. Welton Academy sits in a lonely, isolated valley in the woods of Vermont. Travis knows Vermont. Though setting is beautiful, its isolation highlights the loneliness the most of the 7th graders feel at the moment. Interior Welton Academy, oak paneled honor room day. The 50 or so members of the junior class sit in chairs or stand around the room. The students that are featured earlier are here. Todd Anderson, Neil Perry, Knox Overstreet, Charlie Dalton, Richard Cameron. All except Todd wear Welton blazers. Todd sticks out and he knows it. A staircase against the wall leads to the 2nd floor, and that door opens down to the stairs. Down the stairs file 5 boys. An old teacher, Dr. Hager, comes to the door and calls out 5 names.
Overstreet, Perry, Dalton, Anderson, Cameron.
The boys file up the staircase. As they do, a Seda boy, Pitts, leans to the boy next to him, Stephen Meeks. Meeks has sweet egghead looks and very short hair. He wears a pocket watch and chain.
Who's the new boy?
Anderson?
Misters Pitts and Meeks, demerits.
Pitts
That's
Meeks
another
down, Pitt glances at the next and rolls his eyes.
That's another demerit, Mr. Pitts.
Pitt's smile vanishes. Hager closes the door. Interior headmaster's office the same. The 5 boys take the seats in a row of chairs facing Mr. Nolan. Nolan sits behind his desk, a hunting dog on the floor beside him.
Welcome back, Mr. Dalton. How's your father?
Doing fine, sir.
Your family moves into the new house, Mr. Overstreet? Yes, sir, about a month ago. Wonderful. I hear it's beautiful. Mr. Anderson, since you're new here, let me explain that at Welton, I assign extracurricular activities on the basis of merit and desire. These activities are taken every bit as seriously as your classwork. Right, boys?
Yes, sir.
Failure to attend required meetings will result in demerits. Mr. Dalton, the school paper, the service club, soccer, rowing. Mr. Overstreet, Welton Society candidates, the school paper, soccer, Sons of Alumni Club. Mr. Perry, Welton Society candidates, chemistry club, mathematics club, school annual, soccer. Mr. Cameron, Welton Society candidates, debate club, rowing, service club, forensics, honor council. Mr. Anderson, based on your record at Ballincrest, soccer, service club, school annual. Anything else I don't know about?
Todd struggles. He looks like he's trying to speak, but nothing is coming out of his mouth.
Speak up, Mr. Anderson.
Todd Anderson.
I What is he?
How about
Speak up, Mr. Anderson.
Halloween, sir?
No, what page? I lost it already.
At the bottom of page 10 in the PDF, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. Teacher.
Now speak up.
Oh, I would prefer rowing, sir.
As a parent-
Rowing. Go ahead.
Nope, you go ahead. I love it.
Rowing. Did he say rowing? It says here you played soccer at Ballincrest.
Is there an echo in here? I did, but
Wow, that's a demerit. Sweat breaks out on Todd's brow. He clenches his hands, turning his knuckles white. He looks like he's going to burst into tears. The other boys will look at him.
You'll like soccer here, Anderson. Dismissed.
The boys stand and exit. Todd looks absolutely miserable. The teacher at the door calls out more names. Exterior Welton campus day. The Welton students walk towards their dorms. Neil Perry approaches Todd Anderson, who walks alone. He walks alone. Okay, Neil offers his handshake.
I hear we're going to be roommates. It's unfortunate. I'm Neil Perry.
fuck me. I'm Todd Harris. Anderson.
I had to.
Demerits for that language. Todd,
I'm sorry.
there's an awkward silence.
Why'd you leave Ballincrest?
My brother went here.
Oh, so you're that Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Anderson. I hate the Matrix movies. Anyway, interior, the junior dorm lobby continuous. No one asked. I know. Neil and Todd have walked into the dorm lobby.
My parents wanted me here all along, but my grades weren't good enough. I had to go to
Roll
At
with
pull them up.
Ballincrest?
Oh, that's
Your
what
name
it's,
of
yeah,
your
well,
school?
I told you my grades weren't good.
No.
The Valley Crest to pull them up.
Well, you've won the booby prize. Don't expect to like it here.
I don't. Or you.
He has won the booby prize. Wow, the tension is just unpalpable.
All there.
Interior, the Welton simmer. Interior, the Welton Junior Class Dormitory Room Day. Each small room contains 2 single beds, 2 closets, and 2 desks. Suitcases sit on the floor. Neil enters. Richard Cameron sticks in his head.
Heard you got the new boy. He's a hell of a speaker, huh? Oh, oops.
Todd Anderson walks in. Cameron ducks out. Todd has just heard Cameron's comment, but he ignores it. He puts his suitcase on his bed and begins unpacking.
Don't mind Cameron. He's an asshole.
Knock on the door. Knocks Overstreet and Charlie Dalton and Stephen Meeks enter. Hey, I heard you went to summer school.
Yeah, chemistry. My father thought that I should get ahead.
Well, Meeks aced Latin, and I didn't quite flunk English. So if you want, we've got our study group,
Sure, but Cameron asked me too. Anybody mind including him?
which is speciality brown nosing.
Hey, he's your roommate.
Not my fault.
I don't think we've met. I'm Stephen Mix.
Todd Anderson.
Charlie Dalton.
Knox Overstreet.
Todd's brother is Jeffrey Anderson.
Oh yeah, sure. Valedictorian, National Merit Scholar.
Well, welcome to Helton.
Every bit as hard as they say it, unless you're a genius like Meeks.
He flatters me, so I'll help him with Latin.
And English. And trig.
It's open.
Neil's
Well,
father.
father-
Neil's surprised.
Well, father, I thought that you'd gone.
All the boys stand. Mr. Perry.
Mr. Perry, keep your seats, boys. How's it going?
Fine, sir.
Fine, sir. Thank you.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
Neil, I've decided that you're taking too many extracurricular activities. I've spoken to Mr. Nolan about it, and you can work on the school annual next year.
But father, I'm assistant editor.
I'm sorry, Neil.
But father, it's not fair.
Fellows, would you excuse us a minute?
Mr. Perry walks into the hall. Neil follows. Interior junior dormitory hallway. Same.
I will not be disputed in public. Do you understand me?
Father, I wasn't disputing you.
When you finish medical school and you're on your own, you can do as you please. Until then, you will listen to me.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
You know what this means to your mother, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Using the pressures of guilt and punishment like every parent is adept at, Mr. Perry is the most subtle of bullies. Neil's resolve crumbles in front of his I know this word, authoritarian.
Authoritarian!
Neil fills the pause. Shut up, Neil, you fucking know-it-all.
Well, you know me, always talking too much.
Good boy. Call us if you need anything.
He turns and walks off. Interior Neil's room. The others wait in silence. A chastened Neil enters. Why doesn't he let you do what you want?
Yeah, tell him off. It couldn't get any worse.
Right?
Oh, that's rich. Like you tell your parents off, Mr. Future Lawyer and Mr. Future Banker.
Neil takes the school annual achievement pin off his shirt and hurls it at his desk.
Wait a minute. I don't let my parents walk on me.
Yeah, you just do everything they say. You'll be in Daddy's law firm as sure as I'm standing here. And you'll be approving loans till you croak.
Okay, so I don't like it any more than you do. I'm just saying.
Then don't tell me how to talk to my father when you're the same way, all right?
All right. Jesus, what are you going to do?
What I have to do. Screw the annual.
I certainly wouldn't lose any sleep over it. It's just a bunch of people trying to impress Nolan.
Screw it all. I don't give a damn about any of it.
Slams his hand into his pillow and lies back silently. Everyone's quiet, sensing Neil's disappointment. Finally, Charlie breaks the silence. I don't know about anyone else, but I could use a refresher in Latin. 8 o'clock, my room?
Sure.
Hey, you're welcome to join us, Todd.
Yeah, come along.
Thank you.
Boys leave. Neil lies in silence. He sees the achievement pin that he threw and picks it up. Todd continues to unpack. He unpacks a photo of his mother and father with their arms around an older boy who is obviously Todd's brother, Jeffrey. Todd stands to one side, slightly apart from the family group. Todd unpacks an engraved leather desk set, pins, blotter, etc., and puts it on his desk.
So, what do you think of my father?
I'll take him over mine.
What?
Nothing.
Todd, if you're going to make it here, around here, you've got to speak up. The meek might inherit the earth, but they don't get into Harvard. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, well, this goddamn bastard.
Jesus. He presses the metal point of the pen into his thumb, drawing blood. Todd winces. Neil doesn't. Neil hurls the pen again. Interior chemistry class day. The classroom is a laboratory filled with flasks and etc. Neil, Todd, Knox, Charlie, Cameron, Meeks, and other members of the junior class sit around the room. A bespectacled teacher stands in front, passing out thick textbooks.
In addition to the assignments in the text, you will each pick 3 lab experiments from the project list and report on every 5 weeks. The first 20 problems at the end of chapter 1 are due tomorrow.
Anglin Charlie Dalton. As the thick textbooks arrive at his desk, he shoots a disbelieving glance at Knox Overstreet, who can only acknowledge with a shake of his hand or his head, and Todd takes a book without reacting. Interior Latin class day. The same student stood before a Latin teacher in his early 60s. He declines a Latin noun with a thick Scottish brogue. Agricola, agricole, agricolas. This is not a Scottish accent. Agricolas, agricolatus, agricolatus. I don't think I said those right. Engelon favoring Todd, Neil, Knox, and the others as they are struggling to follow along with McAllister's lessons. It's a Scottish accent. Interior mathematics class day. Mathematical charts hang on the walls. An elderly bald teacher, the one from Nolan's doorway, Dr. Hager, passes out books. The students' workload is huge.
Your study of trigonometry requires absolute precision. Anyone failing to turn in any homework assignment will be penalized 1 point off his final grade. Let me urge you now not to test me on this point. Who would like to begin by defining a cosine? A cosine is the sine of the complement of an angle of arc. If we define an angle A, then blah, blah, blah.
Interior English classroom day. The junior students, Todd, Neil, Knox, Charlie, Cameron, Meeks, and some of the others we've seen enter. They are loaded down with books and look weary. Sitting in the front of the room, staring out a window, is John Keating, the teacher we glimpsed earlier. He wears a collared shirt, tie, and no jacket. The boys take seats and settle in. Keating stares out a window a long time. The students start to shuffle uncomfortably. Finally, Keating stands, picks up a yardstick, and begins to slowly stroll the aisles. He stops and stares into the face of one of the boys.
Don't be embarrassed.
And then stops, and then stops in front of Charlie Dalton.
Ha! Ha! Uh-huh. Nimble young minds.
He steps up onto the desk and turns to face the class.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. Who knows where that's from? Who knows it? Who knows it? It was written by a poet named Walt Whitman about Mr. Abraham Lincoln. In this class, you may refer to me as either Mr. Keating or Oh, Captain, my Captain. So that I become the source of as few rumors as possible, let me tell you that, yes, I was a student at this institution many moons ago, and no, at the time I did not possess this charismatic personality. However, should you choose to emulate my manner, it can only help your grade.
Pick up a textbook from the back, gentlemen. Oh, wait, nope, that's you.
Oh, that is me, but thank you for beginning it. Pick up a textbook from the back, gentlemen, and let's retire to the honor room.
He steps off the desk and walks out. The students sit, not sure what to do. Then they realize that follow them. They quickly gather their books, pick up their texts, and follow. Interior the Welton Oak paneled honor room day. This was the room where the boys waited earlier. The walls are lined with class pictures dating all the way back to the 1800s. School trophies of every description and trophy fill the cases and shelves. It's a bit like Hogwarts. Keating leads the students in, then faces the class.
Mr. Pitts. Wow, an unfortunate name. Stand up, Mr. Pitts. Open your text, Pitts, to page 40 and read for us the first stanza of the poem, Pitts.
To the virgins to make much of time.
That's the one. That is the one.
Gather. Yes, teach.
You may continue.
Gather ye rosebuds while ye may, old time is still a flying, and this same flower that smiles today, tomorrow will be dying.
Gather ye rosebuds while ye may. The Latin term for that sentiment is carpe diem. Anyone know?
Carpe diem. Oh, sorry.
You know? Oh, you do. You do know what it means. What does it mean?
Seize the day.
Very good, Mr.
Meeks.
Meeks. Seize the day while you're young. See that you make use of your time. Why does that poet write these lines?
Because he's in a hurry.
Because we're food for worms, lads. Because we're only going to experience a limited number of springs, summers, and falls. One day, hard as it is to believe, each and every one of us is going to stop breathing, turn cold, and die. Stand up and pursue the faces of boys who attend this school 60 or 70 years ago. Don't be timid. Go look at them. Go ahead.
The boys get up. Todd, Neil, Knox, Meeks, etc. Go over to class pictures and line the honor room walls. Angle on various pictures. Faces of young men stare at us from the past.
They're not that different than any of you, are they? There's hope in their eyes, just like in yours. They believe themselves destined for wonderful things, just like many of you. Well, where are those smiles now, boys? What of that hope? Did most of them not wait until it was too late before making their lives into even one iota of what they were capable? In chasing the almighty deity of success, did they not squander their boyhood dreams? Most of those gentlemen are fertilizing daffodils. However, if you get very close, boys, you can hear them whisper. Go ahead. Lean in. Hear it. Go ahead.
Todd, Neil, Knox, Charlie, Cameron, Meeks, Pitts all stare into the pictures on the wall. All are lost in thought. Exterior Welton campus day. The class files out of the honor room. Todd, Neil, Knox, Charlie, Cameron, Meeks, and Pitts walk together, books in hand, all thinking about what just happened in class.
Weird.
But different.
Spooky, if you ask me.
Think he'll test us on that stuff?
Oh, come on, Cameron. Don't you get anything? Exterior Welton campus continuous.
How about a trig study group right after dinner?
Sure.
Good by me.
Great.
I can't make it. I gotta sign out to have dinner at Dansbury's house.
Who are the Danberries?
Oh, big alums. How'd you pull that?
They're friends with my dad, probably in their 90s or something.
Listen, anything's better than the mystery meat.
I'll second that. The group disperses, and Neil finds himself walking near Todd, who has been silent through this whole discussion.
Want to come to study group?
Thanks, but I'd better do.
Interior Todd and Neil's dorm room late afternoon. Todd enters alone. He puts down his books and sits at his desk, flipping through the stack of books in front of him. He sighs at his workload that is piling up. Todd takes out his notebook and opens up his history book. He stares at his notebook for a while and then writes, "Seize the day" in big letters. He looks at the words that he's written, sighs, tears off the page, and then plunges into his homework. Exterior Welton campus, dusk. White shut. The autumnal colors are muted by the onset of nightfall. Old Dr. Hager drives the school Woody station wagon out of the campus. Exterior Walton Village, Newcastle, dusk. Woody drive by a large mansion, dusk. Knox Overstreet gets out of the Woody. Woody. Dr. Hager pulls away. Knox walks to the door of the home and is admitted by a maid. Knox is amazed by this palatial home. Interior of the Danbury Mansion Library, dusk. Joe Danbury is a sharp-looking man of about 40, well-dressed, friendly. His wife, an attractive blonde about the same age, sits behind him.
Knox, come in. Joe Danbury. This is my wife, Jeanette. Nice to meet you.
You're the spitting image of your father. How is he?
Great. Just did a big case for GM. Ah, I know where you're headed. Like father, like son, eh? Ginny, come meet Knox.
Jenny Danbury, 15, cute, shy, a shock of misplaced hair. Ooh, enters.
Knox, this is our daughter, Virginia.
Knox shakes her hand. Who does that at 16? His hello is polite. Her hi is shy. Chet Danbury, a tall jock of a couple years older than Knox, enters. With him is a lovely teenage brunette, Chris Noel, in a short tennis dress, soft glowing eyes, athletic figure. This girl is stunning. God.
Ready? Dad, can I take the Buick? What's wrong with your car?
Chet, where are your manners? Knox, this is my son Chet, and this is his girlfriend Chris Noel. This is Knox Overstreet. Excuse me while I go and I check on dinner.
Hi.
Oh, Knox shakes Chet's hand. Fucking Chet. Knox is thunderstruck by Chris. Chris offers Knox her hand with a smile. Knox shakes her hand, his mouth practically hanging open.
Pleased to meet you.
The pleasure's all mine. Come on, Dad. Why is this always a big deal? Because I bought you a sports car and suddenly you want my car all the time? Chris's mom feels safer when we're in a bigger car, right, Chris?
It's all right, Chet.
It's not all right. Come on, Dad. Come on, Dad.
Joe Danbury walks out of the room. Chet follows him.
Come on, Dad.
Knox?
There. Where are you in school?
Ridgeway High. How's Henley Hall, Jim? I'll say that again. How's Henley Hall gin?
I think you're Jenny.
Oh, okay.
I think you're Jenny, Travis. Are you Jenny?
I just said, oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
That's your sister's school, right?
Sort of.
You going out for the Henley Hall play? They're doing a Midsummer Night's Dream. Maybe.
How did you meet Chet? I mean,
He plays on the Ridgeway football team, and I'm a cheerleader. He used to go to Walton, but he flunked out. You should do it, Jin. You'd be great.
Chris, we get it. Let's go.
Nice meeting you, Knox. Bye, Jin.
Nice meeting you, Chris.
At Chris and Chet exit through the window, we see Chet and Chris walk out and put their arms around each other.
Chet just wants the Buick so they can go parking.
Oh,
Outside, Chris and Chet get in the Buick and kiss. Of course, they go parking. Knox stares with envy. Dude.
Something wrong?
no.
Exterior Danbury House, dusk. Chet and Chris drive off. Interior THS Junior Class Lounge night. The dorm is quiet. Neil, all the guys are gathered studying math. As they do, Pitts works to assemble a small crystal radio. Todd is in his room studying alone. Knox, looking shell-shocked, shuffles into the lobby. Hey, how was dinner?
Terrible. Awful. I met the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life.
Are you crazy? What's wrong with that?
She's practically engaged to Chet Danbury, Mr. Armando Jocko himself.
Too bad.
It's not too bad. It's a tragedy. Why does she have to be in love with a jerk?
Story of my life. Reverse, though. Anyway, I digress. It's
All the good ones go for the jerk. Go for jerks. You know that. Forget her. Take your trig book and figure out problem 12.
I can't just forget her, Pitts. And I certainly can't think about math. Sure you can. You're off on a tangent, so you're halfway into a trig already.
That's nice.
Duh, Meeks. Duh.
I thought it was clever. You really think I should forget her?
You have another choice.
Only you, Pitsy.
Pitsy. Pitts pushes Knox away. Knox sits back down, but despair is beginning to wash over him. Exterior Welton campus morning. The Welton bagpiper marches on the lawn practicing. Students emerge from their dorms and head to breakfast. Interior Keating's English class day. The lights are out and the shades are drawn. Keating sits in a chair beside the teacher's desk. He looks solemn. All is still.
Boys, quietly open your text to page 54. Little Boy Blue by Eugene Field. The little toy dog is covered with dust, but sturdy and staunch he stands. And the little toy soldier is red with rust, and his musket molds in his hands. Time was when the little toy dog was new, and the soldier was passing fair, and that was the time when our little boy Blue kissed them and put them there. Don't you go till I come, he said, and don't you make any noise. So toddling off to his trundle bed, he dreamt of pretty toys. And as he was dreaming, an angel song awakened our little boy Blue. Oh, the years are many, the years are long, but the little toy friends are true. Aye, faithful to little boy Blue, they stand each in the same old place, awaiting the touch of a little hand, the smile of a little face. And they wonder as waiting the long years through in the dust of that little chair, what has become of our little boy Blue since he kissed them and put them there.
Keating is a masterful reader. With his marvelous voice, he has milked the sentimental poem for everything it is worth. Many of the boys are on the verge of tears. Keating suddenly shouts,
Gag! Ugga! Gah! Triacle! Mockish! Treacle! Rip it out of your books! Rip it out of the entire page! I want this sentimental rubbish in the trash where it belongs! Rip it!
He marches down the aisles with the trash can and waits for each boy to deposit the page from his textbook. The boys, having been led down the sentimental path, cannot help but laugh at this sudden change of mood.
Make a clean tear. Want nothing left of it. Eugene Field? Disgraceful. Papooey.
Interior of McAllister's classroom. Day. McAllister, the Scottish Latin teacher, exits his room as he walks across the hall to Keating's classroom. He peeks in the door window and sees the boys ripping pages out of their books. Alarmed, McAllister opens the door and enters Keating's room. McAllister is about to reprimand the boys when suddenly he sees Keating. McAllister, what the? Sorry, I didn't think you were here, Mr. Keating. Oh, that's part of the script. Baffled and embarrassed, McAllister exits. Keating strides back into the front of the room. He flips the trash can on the floor, jumps onto it. He stomps the trash a few times, then kicks the can away.
This is battle, boys. War. Your soul's at a critical juncture. Either you will succumb to the will of Hooey Pooey, and the fruit will die on the vine, or you will triumph as individuals. It may be a coincidence that part of my duties are to teach you about romanticism, but let me assure you that I take the task quite seriously. You will learn you will learn in my class, but if I do my job properly, and you will also learn a great deal more. You will learn to savor language and words because they are stepping stones to everything you might endeavor to do in life and do well. A moment ago I used the term hooey pooey. Who knows what it means? Come on, Overstreet, you twerp. Come on, Anderson, you're a man or a boil. Are you a man or are you a boil?
More laughter. All the eyes are on Todd. He visibly tenses all over. He cannot bring himself to speak. He shakes his head jerkily. No. Meeks raises his hand and speaks.
Whoops. Give me a second. The hoi poi, doesn't it mean the herd?
Precisely, Meeks. Greek for the herd. However, be warned that when you say the hooey pooey, you are actually saying the herd, indicating that you too are hooey pooey.
Hoi polloi.
Hoi polloi.
Hooey pooey.
Keating grins wryly. Meeks smiles. More chuckles. Keating paces to the back of the room.
Now, many will argue that 19th century literature has nothing to do with the business school or medical school. They think I should read our Field and Pipple, learn our rhyme and meter, and quietly go about it our business of achieving other ambitions. Well, I say dribble. One reads poetry because he is a member of the human race, and the human race is filled with passion. Medicine of things. These are necessary to sustain life. But poetry, romance, love, beauty, these are what we stay alive for. I read from Whitman, "Oh me, oh life, of the questions of these reoccurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, skipping. What good amid these, oh me, oh life? Answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. That the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. Incredible! Poetry is rapture, lads. Without it, we are doomed. What will your verse be?
Looking on the faces of all the boys as they contemplate this question, softly Keating breaks the mood.
Let's open our textbooks to page 60 and learn about Wordsworth's notion of romanticism.
Interior Welton dining room. Day. On the dais in front of the room is the teacher's dining table. Below them are the students' tables. Mr. McAllister sits to Keating's right. McAllister, quite an interesting class you had today, Mr. Keating.
Yes. Sorry if I shocked you.
No need to apologize. I'm not even going to try Scottish accent. It was quite fascinating, misguided though it was.
You heard it all.
Like, you're hardly a Trappist monk. You take a big risk encouraging them to be artists, John. When they realize they're not Rembrandts or Shakespeare's or Picasso's, they'll hate you for it.
Not artists, George, free thinkers. And I hardly pegged you as a cynic.
A cynic? A realist? Show me the heart of a heart unfettered by foolish dreams, and I'll show you a happy man. But I will enjoy listening to your lectures. Keating grins with amusement.
I do.
Another wrangled dining room. Same. All the boys sit at the table eating. Neil enters and joins them.
I found a senior annual in the library. Captain of the soccer team, editor of the annual, Cambridge bound, man most likely to do anything, Thigh Man, and Dead Poet Society.
Hands grab the old annual away from Neil. I man, Mr. K was a hellraiser.
What is the Dead Poet Society? Any group pictures in the annual?
Nothing, there's no mention of it.
Nolan. Mr. Nolan approaches the boys' table. Under the table, Cameron Lee insistently hands the annual to Todd. Todd looks at Cameron and then takes it.
Enjoying your classes, Mr. Perry?
Yes, sir, very much.
And our Mr. Keating, finding him interesting, boys?
Yes, sir, we were just talking about that.
Good. We're very excited about him. He was a Rhodes Scholar, you know.
Nolan exits. Todd looks at the annual that he hides in his lap under the table, then continues eating. Exterior campus later, Keating walks across the school lawn wearing his sport coat and scarf, carrying books. Pitts, Neil, Cameron, Knox, Charlie, Meeks, and Todd approach him.
Mr. Keating? Sir? Oh, Captain, my captain?
Oh.
What was the Dead Poet Society?
Ah. So you boys have been snooping?
I was just looking at an old annual and...
There's nothing wrong with research.
But what was it?
The Dead Poet Society was a secret organization. I don't know how the present administration would look upon it, but I doubt the reaction would be favorable. Can you keep a secret? The Dead Poet Society was dedicating to sucking the marrow out of life. That phrase is by Thoreau and was invoked at every meeting. A small group of us would meet at a cave, and there we would take turns reading Shelley, Thoreau, Whitman, our own verse, any number of poets, and in the enchantment of the moment, let them work their magic on us.
That's me. You mean it was a bunch of guys sitting around reading poetry?
Both sexes participated, Mr. Overstreet, and believe me, we did not simply read. We let it drip from our tongues like honey. Women swooned, spirits soared. Gods were created, gentlemen.
Well, what did the name mean? Did you only read dead poets?
All poetry is acceptable. The name simply referred to the fact that to join the organization, you had to be dead.
What?
What?
Full membership required a lifetime of apprenticeship. The living were simply pledges. Alas, even I am still a lowly initiate. The last meeting must have been 25 years ago. It hasn't been in another since.
Keating exits, and the boys stand watching.
Well, I say we go tonight, because apparently there's a dump truck trying to kill me outside of my house. Everybody in?
Absolutely. Where's this cave he's talking about? In that truck.
Beyond the stream. I think I know.
That's miles.
Sounds boring to me.
Don't come.
You know how many demerits we're talking?
So don't goddamn come, please.
All I'm saying is we have to be careful. We can't get caught.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
So who's in?
I'm in.
Well,
Come on, Pitts.
His grades are hurting, Charlie.
Then you can help him.
what is this? A midnight study group?
Forget it, Pitts. You're coming. Meeks, your grades are hurting too, right?
All right. I'll try anything once.
Except sex.
As long as we're careful.
Hey, Knox.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Oh, come on. It'll help you get Chris.
It will? How do you figure?
Women swoon.
But why?
The group walk off, and Knox folds then follows.
Why do they swoon? Charlie, tell me why they swoon.
Young Padawan. Knox moves off after the others. Todd remains behind. No one asks Todd, and he moves off by himself. Interior study hall, late afternoon. Student study. Neil sits near Todd.
Listen, I'm inviting you. You can't expect everybody to think of you all the time. Nobody knows you.
Thanks, but it's not a question of that.
Well, then what is it then?
I just don't want to come.
But why? Don't you understand what Keating, Jesus, I should know my teacher's name. Keating is saying, Don't you want to do something about it?
Yes, but
But
Yeah.
what? God damn it, tell me.
I don't want to read.
What?
Keating said everybody took turns reading. I don't want to do it.
God, you really have a problem, don't you? Now I see why you cast him as this, Anne.
Me too. I can see exactly why.
I got taken out of the moment. I'm sorry. How can it hurt you to read? I mean, isn't this what this is all about? Expressing yourself in the middle of a pandemic Lovato?
What's
It
this?
is the dorm late night. Dr. Hager, old Dr. Hager, the resident dorm marshal, putters in his room door jar, making tea. Neil, all the boys sneak silently past his door out. Exterior Welton campus night school. Hunting dog comes up and growls at the boys. Pitt slips the dog a piece of food and it goes away. Bad hunting dog. Exterior the school grounds. The stars are out and the wind is blowing. A series of shots shows the boys crossing campus. They reach a stone wall with an old iron gate that is chained shut. Jesus Christ, they're locked in. The boys squeeze through the gate and disappear into the woods beyond. Exterior Welton School woods stream night. The boys make their way through the eerie forest searching for the cave. They reach a bank of the stream and begin looking for an appropriate spot amongst the tree roots and erosion. Charlie suddenly looms out of the cave entrance. Yeah, I'm a dead poet.
Ah! Eat it, Dalton!
This is it. Short dissolve to interior cave. A newly lit fire comes to life and the boys huddle around the flames.
I want this to happen right now. I hereby reconvene the Welton chapter of the Dead Poet Society. These meetings will be conducted by myself and the rest of the new initiates now present. Todd Anderson, because he prefers not to read, will keep minutes of the meetings.
Todd is unhappy with his role but tries not to show it.
I will now read the traditional opening message from Society member Henry David Thoreau. I'm just gonna open a book again. God damn it. I went to the woods because I wanted to live deliberately. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life.
All right, I'll second that.
To put the route all that was not life. And not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. Pledge Overstreet.
Knox steps up. Neil hands him Walden. Knox flips through the book until he finds another underlined passage. He reads.
The millions are awake enough for physical labor, but only 1 in a million is awake enough for effective intellectual exertion. Only 1 in 100 millions to a poetic or divine life. To be awake is to be alive.
Hey, this is great.
If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with the success unexpected in common hours.
Yes, I want success with Chris.
Cameron hands the book to Todd. Todd holds the book, frozen. Before the others notice Todd's fear, Neil takes the book from Todd and hands it to Meeks.
If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put foundations under them.
Todd, I want to do everything. I'm gonna explode.
Neil looks endued with the desire to break out of his mold. He slams his palms of his hands together with an expression of determination. Charlie opens a book he brought and he flips through it. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from the pole to pole, I think that whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. The wise words of Waldo. Pull back from the small band of boys standing huddled in the night. Something is swirling in their heads. Something alive is exciting, like the wind and the swaying trees around them. Charlie raises his hands in the air. I'm here and now commit myself to daring. Dissolve to Keating's classroom day.
So avoid using the word very because it's lazy. A man is not very tired, he is exhausted. Don't use very sad, use morose. Language was invented for one reason, boys, to woo women. And in that I endeavor laziness will not do. It also won't do in your essays.
Keating closes his book and walks over and raises a map that covers the blackboard in front of the room. On the board is a quote, which Keating reads aloud.
Creeds and schools in abeyance permit to speak at every hazard, nature without check, with original energy. Walt Whitman. Ah, but the difficulty of ignoring those creeds in schools, conditioned as we are by our parents, our traditions by the modern age. How do we, like Whitman, permit our own true natures to speak? How do we strip ourselves of prejudices, habits, influences? The answer, my dear lads, is that we must constantly endeavor to find a new point of view. Why do I stand here? To feel taller than you? I stand on my desk to remind myself that we must constantly force ourselves to look at things differently. The world from up here, the world is different from over here. If you don't believe it, it's different from over here. It's different. If you don't believe it, stand up here and try it. All of you, take turns.
Keating jumps off. All the boys, with the exception of Todd, go to the front of the room and few at a time take turns standing on Keating's desk. As they do, Keating strolls up and down the aisles.
Yes. Try never to think about anything the same way twice. If you're sure about something, force yourself to think about it another way, even if you know it's wrong or silly. When you read, don't consider only what the author thinks, but take the time to consider what you think. You must strive to find your own voice, boys, and the longer you wait to begin, the less likely you are to find it at all. Thoreau said most men lead lives of quiet desperation. I ask, why be resigned to that? Risk walking new ground. Now, a flame in your hearts could change the world, lads. Nurture it.
Keating goes to the door. He looks at the class, then flashes the room lights on and off over and over. He makes a noise like crashing thunder.
In addition to your essays, I want you each to write a poem. Something your own to be delivered around class.
He exits, but momentarily pops his head back in.
And don't think I don't know this assignment scares you to death, Mr. Anderson, you mole.
Wow, called out. Keating holds out his hands and pretends he's sending lightning bolts at Todd. The class laughs. Todd forces a hint of a smile. Interior, exterior, Welton campus afternoon, various locations. Pitts and Meeks climb up on the side of the bell tower that sits atop the Welton Chapel. They affix Pitt's crystal radio antenna to the chapel cross. Momentarily, they tune in a fuzzy rock and roll station.
Radio Free America.
They try to tune in the music, but it soon dissolves into static, the jiggle of the radio in frustration. Some of the Welton students run on the green, kicking soccer balls down at the lake. The Welton crew team is practicing. Mr. Nolan sits in a rowboat smoking a pipe, watching. Knox rides down a wooded lane on his bike. He comes to Ridgeway High School. Beyond a fence, uniformed boys practice football. Not far from them, cheerleaders practice. Knox stops. He sees among the cheerleaders is Chris. She laughs as she practices the cheers with other girls. Knox watches her with intense longing in his eyes. Chet Danbury catches a pass in front of Chris, struts for her amusement, then moves on. Chris laughs. Knox gets back on his bike and pedals away. Interior, Todd and Neil's room. Afternoon. Todd sits at his bed, a pad of paper beside him. He starts to write something, scratches it out, and then covers his face in frustration. The door opens. Neil enters looking like he's just seen God. He lets his books fall to his desk.
I found it.
Found what?
What I want to do right now. What's really inside of me?
He hands Todd a piece of paper.
A Midsummer Night's Dream? Go, Peter Quince. What is it?
It's a play, dummy.
I know that. What's it got to do with you?
They're putting it on at Henley Hall. See? Open tryouts. So I'm going to act. Ever since I can remember, I've wanted to try it. Last summer, I even tried to go to summer stock auditions, but of course, my father wouldn't let me.
And now he will?
Hell no, but that's not the point. The point is, for the first time in my whole goddamn life, I know what I want. I know where the fuck I want to live. And for the first time, I'm going to do it whether my father wants me to or not. Carpe diem, goddammit.
Neil picks up the play and reads the coup of lines aloud. They delight him. He clenches his fists in the air with joy.
Neil,
First,
hey, that's mine, Neil.
I'm
Jesus.
sorry, Travis. I expected you
Who's
to fucking
Travis,
forget it.
Neil? You're talking crazy. Now, Neil, how are you going to be in a play if your father won't let you?
Damn it, Santa. First, I gotta get the part, and then I'm gonna worry about that.
Won't he kill you if you don't let him know about your auditioning? Auditioning? Does that make you feel better, Neil?
Yes, as far as I'm concerned, he won't have to know about any of it.
Oh, come on, that's impossible.
It says horse shit, but can I say bullshit? Bullshit! Nothing's impossible.
Why don't you ask him first? Maybe he'll say yes.
That's a laugh. If I don't ask, at least I won't be disobeying him.
But if you said no before then, you know.
Jesus Christ, superstar, whose side are you on? I haven't even gotten the part yet. Can't I just enjoy the idea even for a little while?
Todd turns back to his work. Neil sits on the bed and starts reading the play.
By the way, there's a meeting this afternoon. Are you coming?
I guess.
Neil puts down his play and looks at Todd.
None of what Mr. Keating had to say means shit to you, does it?
What is that supposed to mean?
Being in the club means being stirred up by things. You look about as stirred up as a cesspool.
You want me out? Is that what you're saying?
No, I want you in. But being in means that you gotta do something, not just say you're in.
Listen, Neil, I appreciate your interest in me, but I'm not like you. When you say things, people pay attention. People follow you. I'm not like that.
Why not? Don't you think you could be?
No, I don't know. I'll probably never know. The point is, there's nothing you can do about it. It's so butt out. All right, I can take care of myself just fine. All right.
No.
No. What do you mean no?
No.
Neil opens his play. Todd waits for Neil to relent. He doesn't. Exterior cave afternoon. The boys enter the cave. It is a clear, crisp fall afternoon. All the boys sit around. Neil recites from Thoreau.
I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately. I wished to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life.
God, I want to suck all the marrow out of Chris. I'm so in love. Oh, I feel like I'm going to die.
You know what the dead poets would say? Gather ye rosebuds while ye may.
She's in love with the moron son of my father's best friend. Oh, what would the dead poets say about that?
I feel like I've never been alive. For years, I've been risking nothing. I have no idea what I am or what I want to do. Neil, you know you want to act, okay? Like Knox wants Chris.
Needs Chris. Must have Chris.
Meeks, you're the brain here. What do the dead poets say about somebody like me?
The romantics were passionate experimenters, Charles. They dabbled in many things before settling, if ever.
There aren't too many places to be an experimenter at Welton, Meeks.
I hereby declare the Charles Dutton Cave for passionate experimentation. In the future, anyone wishing entry must have permission from me.
Wait a minute, Charlie. This should belong to the club.
It should, but I found it and now I claim it. So Carpe Cave M, guys, seize the cave.
Well, I gotta get to the tryouts. So wish me luck.
Good luck.
The Alexis Charlie finds a rock and begins carving his name on the wall of the cave. Pitts shakes his head. Exterior soccer field afternoon. Gusts of wind blow across the field, not the gusts of the wind. About 50 boys stand in their sweats, moving around, trying to keep warm. Among them are Todd, Charlie, Pitts, and Knox, who is in a state of lovesick despair. Jesus, Knox, get over it. Keating walks up, carrying some soccer balls under one arm and a case under the other.
Hey, look who's the soccer instructor.
Here. There are quite a few of us, so we have to be quiet if we're to get anything accomplished. Who has the role?
I do, sir.
Answer present, please, Chapman. Chapman.
Present.
Cool. Perry. Neil Perry. Watson. Richard Watson. Absent too, eh?
Watson, sick, sir.
Sick indeed. I suppose I should give Watson demerits, but if I give Watson demerits, I will also have to give Perry demerits, and I like Perry. So.
He crumbles
Boys-
off the roll and tosses it away.
Boys, you don't have to be here if you don't want to. Anyone who wants to play, follow me.
Keating marches off, astonished and delighted by his capriciousness. Most of the boys excitedly follow. Exterior Wiggles, soccer field. Later, most of the boys from earlier sit on the ground. Keating stands before them.
Devotees may argue that one game or sport is inherently better than another. For me, the most important thing in all sport is the way other human beings can push us to excel. Plato, a gifted man like myself, said, only the contest made me a poet, a sophist, an orator. Each person take a slip of paper and line up single file.
He passes out slips of paper to the curious students. Exterior soccer field. Later, the boys form a long line. Todd stands listlessly at the rear, 10 feet in front of the boy. At the head of the line, a soccer ball rests on the ground.
You know what to do. Now go.
McAllister walks past the soccer field. He watches in fascination as the boy at the head of the line steps out, reads loudly from a slip of paper. First boy, to struggle against great odds, to beat enemies undaunted. He runs out and kicks the ball at the goal, missing. Keating puts down another ball, then puts a record on a portable record player. Classical musical starts. The second boy, Knox, steps out.
Rhythm, boy. Rhythm is important.
To be entirely alone with them, to find out how much one can stand.
Knox, too, runs and kicks the ball. Just before he smashes it with his foot, he yells,
Chat!
Keating puts down another ball.
To look, strife, torture, prison, popular odium face to face.
Meeks runs and kicks the ball with great intent. Next, Charlie steps out and reads, to indeed be a god. With determination, Charlie kicks the ball through the goal. McAllister smiles and walks on. Interior Neil and Todd's room night. Todd sits at his desk, a half-composed poem before him. He adds a line, then breaks the pencil in frustration. He paces, sighs, then picks up another pencil and tries it again. Interior dorm hallway, same. Neil enters looking stunned.
Got it. Hey, everybody, I got the part. I'm going to play Puck. Hey, I'm Puck.
Puck you, pipe down.
Right, Neil. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Neil enters his room and closes the door. Incredibly excited, he pulls out an old typewriter and begins to type, and Todd watches.
Neil, how you gonna do this?
Shh. It's what I'm taking care of. They need a letter of permission
From you?
from my father and Nolan.
Neil, you're not gonna,
Quiet. I have to think. I'm gonna mumble some shenanigans from Midsummer Night's Dream that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I see Queen Mab has been with you, so at least maybe there's some
That's
kind of
pretty-
Shakespeare
yeah,
up in this
pretty
bitch.
much.
You should play it terribly.
Shut up, Travis. Interior Keating's passion for not stand before the class reading the poem he wrote.
I see a sweetness in her smile. Bright light shines from her eyes, but life is complete. Contentment mine, just knowing that she... I'm sorry, it's stupid. I'm gonna walk to my seat.
Okay, it's fine, Knox. It was a good effort. What Knox has done demonstrates an important point not only in writing poetry, but in every endeavor. That is, deal with the important things in life, love, beauty, truth, justice, and don't limit poetry to the word. Poetry can be found in a work of art, music, a photograph, in the way a meal is prepared, anything with the stuff of revelation in it. It can exist in the most everyday things, but it must never, never be ordinary. By all means, write about the sky, or girls smile. But when you do, let your poetry conjure up salvation day, doomsday, any day, I don't care. As long as it enlightens us, thrills us, and if it's inspired, makes us feel a bit immortal.
Oh, Captain, my captain, is there poetry in math?
Absolutely, Mr. Dalton. There is elegance in mathematics. If everyone wrote poetry, the planet would starve, for God's sake. But there must be poetry, and we must stop to notice it in even the simplest acts of living, or we will have wasted the truly wonderful opportunity that life as human beings offers us. That said, who wants to recite next? Come on. Come on. I'll get everyone eventually. I look at Mr. Anderson. Now look at him. Look at Mr. Anderson. In such agony. Step up, lad, and let's put you out of your misery.
All eyes are on Todd. He is dying inside. He stands and walks slowly to the front of class like a condemned man on his way to an execution. Oh, poor baby.
Todd, have you prepared your poem? Mr. Anderson believes that everything he has inside of him is worthless and embarrassing. Correct, Todd? Isn't that your fear? Then today you will see that what is inside of you is worth a great deal.
Gideon strides to the blackboard. Rapidly he writes, I sound my barbaric yawp over the rooftops of the world. Walt Whitman.
A yap, for those who don't know, is a loud cry or yell. Todd, I would like you to give us a demonstration of a barbaric yap.
Yeah.
A barbaric yap. Good God, boy, yell!
Yeah.
Again, louder!
Yeah.
Louder!
Yeah.
All right. Very good. There's a barbarian in there after all.
You know it.
What the fuck?
Todd, there's a picture of Whitman over the door. What does he remind you of? Quickly, Anderson, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Go,
A madman. A madman.
Madman. Perhaps he was. What kind of a madman? Don't think. Answer. What kind of a madman?
A crazy madman.
Use your imagination. First thing that pops in your mind, even if it's gibberish.
I sweaty tooth madman.
Now there's the poet speaking. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. And think of the picture. Describe what you see now. Your eyes have to be closed. Close your eyes.
I close my eyes. His image. Ooh, that was nice. Floats beside me.
Yes, a sweaty tooth madman.
A sweaty tooth madman with a stare that pounds my brain. At
Excellent. Have him act. Give it a rhythm.
least my brain's getting some action.
Todd, give it a
His
rhythm.
hands reach. His hands reach out and choke me all the time. He mumbles slowly, "Truth is like a blanket that always leaves your feet cold."
To hell with them. Most about the blanket.
Todd opens his eyes and addresses the class in a defiance cadence.
Stretch it, pull it. It will never cover any of us. Kick at it, beat at it. It will never be enough.
Don't stop. Don't stop.
You know, from the moment we enter crying to the moment we leave dying, it will cover just your head as you wail and cry and scream.
Todd stands still for a long time. Both he and the students have felt the magic or what just has taken place. Neil starts applauding. The others join in. Todd swells, and for the first time, there is a hint of confidence in him. The applause stops, and Keating walks to Todd.
Don't forget this.
Exterior soccer field day. Soccer ball careens off a kicking foot. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, fourth movement. Oh my God, cat hair again. Ode to Joy blares forth. Keating stands on the sidelines beside his portable record player, watching the boys play soccer, waving his arms like an orchestra conductor. In front of Keating, the boys play soccer to his spectacular music. They run, kick, pass, fill, block, to the overpowering chorus of one of the most inspirational pieces of music ever written, said the author of this screenplay. Go to the cave. The boys go in the cave. Inside the cave, Neil hurries in, carrying a small broken statue. The other pledges of the Dead Poets Society are assembled around Charlie, who sits silently cross-legged before them. Ouch. His eyes are closed, and in one hand he holds a saxophone.
Look at this.
What is it?
It's the god of the cave, bro.
The statue has a stake sticking out of its head with a candle stuck in it. Neil plants the statue in the ground and lights the candle. It illuminates red and blue drummer boy, face pitted from exposure, yet noble in its visage. Charlie, who hasn't moved, clears his throat. All turn to him and settle in. Gentlemen, Poet Truzick by Charles Dalton. Thank you, Starbuck, as the saxophone. Random blaring like a bad John Cage. Suddenly, Charlie stops. Laughing, cringing, mumbling. Gotta do more, gotta be more. My saxophone ran away. Chaos screaming, chaos streaming, crying. Fine, gotta be more, gotta be more. Charlie plays a simple but absolutely gorgeous melody. The skeptical looks on the faces of the boys disappear as Charlie gets lost in the music. So do others. The melody ends with a long, beautiful, haunting note.
Charlie and Starbuck, that was great. Where did you learn to play like that?
Parents made me take clarinet, but I hated it. The sax is most sonorous. Not standing back way full of torment and frustration.
God, I can't take it anymore. If I don't have Chris, I'll kill myself.
Knox, you gotta calm down.
No, I've been calm all my life. If I don't do something, it's gonna kill me.
Where are you going?
I'm calling her.
All right, interior dorm phone room. All of the boys stand around. Knox picks up the phone, boldly dials the numbers, and then waits. Interior Chris's house. Afternoon. Chris is in wet hair and a damp towel. Of course, she's like naked, please. But she looks stunning. She enters and answers the phone.
Hello?
It doesn't sound like a girl.
Hello?
There we go, much better. Interior dorm phone stairwell. Knox hears Chris's voice. He starts to speak, then hangs up the phone.
She's gonna hate me. The Danburys will hate me. My parents will kill me. All right. God damn it. You're right. Carpe diem. Even if it kills me.
He picks up the phone and dials again. Interior Chris's house, same again. The phone rings. Again, Chris enters and answers.
Hello?
Hello, Chris. Mrs. Knox Overstreet.
Knox. Oh, yes, Knox. I'm glad you called.
You are? She's glad I called her.
I wanted to call you, but I didn't have the number. Chet's parents are going out of town this weekend, so Chet's having a party. Would you like to come?
Well, sure.
Chet's parents don't know about it, so please keep it quiet, but you can bring someone if you'd like.
I'll be there. The Danburys, Friday night. Thank you, Chris.
He hangs up the phone as thunderstruck and lets out a whoop.
Woo! Can you believe it? She was gonna call me. She invited me to a party with her.
At Chet Danbury's house.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you really think she means you're going with her?
well, hell no, Charlie. But that's not the point. That's not the point at all.
What is the point?
The point is she was thinking about me. I've only met her once and already she's thinking about me. Damn it, it's gonna happen. I feel it. She's going to be mine.
He exits the phone room, his head in a cloud. The others look at each other, not sure what to think. Exterior Hindley Hall auditorium day. The buildings of the school are white brick. Neil parks his bicycle and enters the auditorium. Interior of the stage later. High school actors are on stage rehearsing Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Neil stands center stage playing Puck. He holds his stick with a bell accoutrement jester's head on one end of it.
Yet but three? Come one more, as I almost knocked my laptop off of this here desk. Two of both kinds make up four. Here she comes, cursed and sad. Cupid is a knavish lad, thus to make poor females mad.
Enter Jenny, playing Hermia. Crawling on stage, looking exhausted, she starts her lines. The director of the play, a woman in her 40s, interrupts.
Good, Neil. I really get the feeling your puck knows he's in charge. Remember, Betty takes great delight in what he's doing.
Cupid is a knavish lad, thus to make poor females mad.
Excellent. Continue, Jenny. Never so weary, never so in woo, bedabbled with the dew and torn with briars, I can no further crawl, no further go. Yeah.
You read that like a true poet, Travis.
I
You
mean,
did, you
hey,
did great. You did great. You got past that part. Good
I mean,
job.
it was. I mean, hey,
Phone came back.
I'm gonna ride my bike now. I'm riding my bicycle.
As he starts to the dorm, he spots a figure sitting motionless on the wall.
Todd,
Neil walks over to get a better look. It is Todd, sitting in the dark without a coat.
what's going on? Todd, what's the matter?
it's my birthday.
It is? Happy birthday. Did you get anything?
Todd is motionless, then points to a box. Neil looks, and the box seems to be a monogrammed desk set that we've seen at Todd's desk.
This is your desk set. I don't get it.
They gave me the exact same thing as last year.
Oh,
Oh, long pause.
You don't
well,
have to-
maybe they thought you needed another one. Maybe they thought I don't know,
Maybe yeah,
maybe they pulled a Travis. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, you know that Travis guy's getting in your head. Maybe they don't think at all unless it's about my brother. Maybe that's Travis. His birthday is always a big to do. It was. Looks. This stupid thing is I didn't even like the first one.
Look, Todd. We've got another dump truck happening right now. I'm sorry. Look, Todd, obviously your parents think you're this kind of garbage, as the garbage truck that's right here, but or Todd, rather, oop, whatever. You're obviously underestimating the value of this desk set because I could technically throw it into this garbage truck that's going to park itself right over here now.
What?
Yeah, I mean, this is one special gift. I mean, who would want a football, a Facebook, apparently that's how I read baseball bat, or a car when they could get a desk set as wonderful as this one.
Yeah. Yeah, and just look at this ruler.
Well,
It's not a ruler, but you know.
Ew.
You know what my dad called me when I was growing up? 50, 90, 80. That's what all
you mean 598?
590, 80. Yeah, 590.
Okay.
It's been a long day. That's what all the chemicals in the human body, except for the ones that I didn't use on that, would be worth if you bottled them raw and sold them. He told me that all I'd ever be worth, unless I worked every day to improve myself, 598. 598.
90.
598. That's when I was little.
Apparently, I know your
bad.
I know your dad better than I know my dad. Apparently, or my
Well,
dad
I
knows
mean,
me, and that's great.
It's been a long semester. Well, I was little. I thought all parents automatically love their kids. That's what teachers told me. That's what I read in the books they gave me. That's what I believed until I met you. Clearly, well, my parents might have loved my brother, but they did not love me.
Oh my god, it
This.
is that how you cry? He takes a deep, anguished breath. Neil is groping for something to say. Todd walks into the dorm. Exterior, no Starbuck. No.
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 Play with a plastic bag. All right, the class pours into the courtyard expectantly. Another Keating stunt. Keating addresses them.
People, I'm delighted with your progress as reflected in your essays and poems. However, I know the school policy is to encourage study groups, and I believe that a dangerous, though inevitable, element of conformity has been seeping into your work. Mr. Pitts, Cameron, Overstreet, and Chapman, line up, please, over here. On the count of 4, begin walking together around the courtyard. Nothing to think about. No grade here. 1, 2, 3, go.
The boys begin walking. They go down one side of the courtyard, across the back and upside the other, then across the front.
That's the way. Please continue.
All the boys walk around the courtyard again. They begin to walk together in steps, and it becomes like a march, producing a 1, 2, 3, 4 cadence. And Keating begins to clap.
There it is. Hear it? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Angle through a window, McAllister sits in his empty classroom reading a book. He sees the commotion in the courtyard and watches. The marching boys get into it. The class joins in clapping. Soon the four boys are marching vigorously to the rhythmic clapping of the entire class. Inside his second-story office, Nolan is looking out his window at the marching boys below.
All right, stop. Okay. You may have noticed how at the beginning Mr. Overstreet and Pitts seemed to have a different stride than the others, but soon they were all walking in the same cadence. Our encouragement made it even more marked. Now, this experiment was not to single out Pitts or Overstreet. What it demonstrates is how difficult it is for any of us to listen to our own voice or maintain our own beliefs in the presence of others. If any of you believe you would have marched differently, then ask yourselves why you participated in the clapping. Lads, there is a great need in all of us to be accepted. However, that need can be like a nasty current, whisking us away unless we're strong and determined swimmers. Don't insist on the separate path simply to be different or contrary, but trust what is unique about yourself, even if it's odd or unpopular. As Mr. Robert Frost said, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
So moving, the bell rings, signifying the end of class. Keating walks off. Angle on Nolan in his office. Nolan moves away from the window. Angle on McAllister in his classroom. Amused at Keating's antics, he turns back to his book. Interior entrance to the Dead Poets Cave. My cave. I'm Charlie. All the boys sit around. A fog has moved in and the trees sway in the breeze.
Where's Knox?
Getting ready for that party.
What about Charlie? He's the one who insisted on this meeting.
To the woods because I wanted to live deliberately, to live deep and suck all of the marrow out of life.
In the woods, there's a noise. The sound of a girl's laughter.
I can't see
I can't see a thing. I can't see a thing.
It's just over here, said Charlie. And the 2 girls arrive in the cave. One is pretty, the other is plain. The girls are about 20, blonde, beers in their hands. They aren't the type to be seriously interested in Charlie or the other boys. They're just here for a good time. Hey guys, meet Gloria and
Dana.
Tina and Gloria. This is the pledge class of the Dead Poets Society.
Such a strange name. Won't you tell us what it means?
I told you. That's a secret.
Isn't he precious?
Gloria gives Charlie an affectionate hug. All the other members of the club are flabbergasted. These girls are wild, exotic creatures, the kind whose unashamed love of men causes young boys' hearts to come rest in young boys' throats. The girls giggle.
I can't call you Charlie anymore. What does Nwama mean?
It's
honey.
Nwanda, and I made it up.
I'm cold.
Let's build the fire.
Charlie shoots Meeks a look as he wanted to snuggle in with the ladies. As the boys move off together, Charlie scrapes some mud off the wall of the cave and wipes it on his face like an Indian brave. Native American, please. No. Meeks shoots Gloria his sexist stare and then goes off with the other boys. The girls whisper and giggle together. The Danbury house, night later, Knox parks his bicycle alongside of the house. He takes off his overcoat, stuffs it in the bike saddlebag. He straightens his tie, then goes to the front door. Knox, he can hear music inside. He knocks again. Finally, since no one comes to the door, Knox opens it. Interior Danbury house, same. Knox enters. Open the Door to Your Heart by Daryl Banks is playing on the hi-fi. On the entrance hall couch, there's a couple making out like crazy. Up and down the stairs are other couples doing the same. Knox stands there, not knowing what to do momentarily. Chris walks through her hair in an uncombed mass. What's she been doing?
Chris?
Oh, hi.
Chris?
Yeah, hi. I'm glad you made it. Did you bring anybody?
No.
Ginny Danbury's here. Look for her.
But Chris.
I gotta find Chet. Make yourself at home.
She exits, Knox watches her, and he slumps in dejection.
Here, the woods around the cave, that's where we are.
Thank
Right.
you. Sure, woods around the cave. Charlie is gathering wood and all the other boys around him.
Weird.
Charlie.
It's Nuwanda.
Nawanda. What's going on?
Nothing unless you object to having these girls here.
Well, of course not. It's just that you could have warned us.
I thought I'd be spontaneous. I mean, what's the point of this whole thing, isn't it? Or it's the point of the whole thing.
Where did you find them?
They were walking around the fence around the soccer field, so they were curious about the school, so I invited them to the meeting.
Do they go to Henley Hall?
I don't think they're in school.
They're townies?
Cameron, what's the matter with you? You act like you're the mother or something. You afraid of them?
Hell no. I'm not afraid of them, just if we get caught with them, we're dead. Say, what's going on out there?
Gathering wood. Hey, you keep your mouth shut, jerk off, and there's nothing to worry about.
Watch who you call jerk off.
Oh, calm the fuck down, Cameron.
Charlie gives Cameron an expression of mock fear and then heads off. Others follow. Cameron watches Charlie and Neil for a moment, then walks after them. Interior of the Danbury pantry. Knox, looking suicidal, wanders through the crowded party and ends up in the pantry. Kids stand talking. A couple in the corner is involved in a long kiss. Her hand keeps wandering to her knee and her hand keeps pushing his away. Yet the kiss never breaks. This happens over and over through the entire next scene. Ginny Danbury is in the corner and she and Knox exchange smiles. At the sink, a guy stands making bourbon and cokes. Nice. And the guy eyes Knox.
You Mutt Sanders, brother? Bubba?
Bubba, a big drunk jock leaning on the refrigerator.
This guy looks like Mutt Sanders.
You his brother?
No relation. Never heard of him.
Hey,
Sorry.
Hey, Steve, where's your manners? Here's Mutt's brother and you don't offer him a drink? What's some bourbon?
Actually, I don't.
Steve puts a glass in Knox's hand and fills it with the bourbon, adding only a hint of coke. Nice style. Bubba clinks glass with him. Tomat. Steve, your guy. Tomat.
Tamut.
Bubba and Steve drain their glasses. Knox follows their lead, bursts into coughing fit. Steve pours everyone more bourbon. So, what the hell Mutt's been up to?
Actually, I don't really know much.
It's a fucking Mutt!
Steve.
Travis!
I'm Steve. Okay. To fucking Mutt.
Fucking mutt.
They drain their glasses again. Knox continues coughing. I better find Patsy. Say hello to Mutt for me.
Will do.
Knox and Ginny exchange knowing smiles. Bubba leaves Knox, who is still coughing. Ginny wanders out. Steve pours him and Knox more bourbon. Back at the cave, the boys have lit a fire and the girls are warming their hands. The candle on the head of the cave god flutters. Tina notices the pitted statue.
I heard you guys are weird, but like not this weird.
She takes out a pint of whiskey and offers some to Neil. He takes it and sips. He obviously hasn't had much whiskey in his life, but he tries to act like he has. He hands it back.
Go ahead, pass it around.
Neil does. It goes from boy to boy. Each boy tries to act like he likes the terrible bitter. It's not terrible. It's delicious, delicious nectar from the gods. Unlike most others, Todd manages to keep from coughing as he swallows the whiskey. Everyone is impressed.
Yeah. Don't you guys miss having girls here?
Miss it? Drives us crazy. That's the part of this club is about. In fact, I'd like to announce that I've published an article in the school paper in the name of the Dead Poets Society demanding girls be admitted to Welton so we can all stop beating off.
You what? How'd you do that?
One of the proofers. You slipped the article in.
Oh God, it's over now.
Why? Nobody knows who we are.
Don't you think they'll figure out who did it? Don't you know they'll come to you and demand to know what the Dead Poet Society is? Charlie, you had no right to do something like that.
It's Nwanda, Cameron.
That's right. It's Nuwanda.
And we're just playing around out here. Do we mean what we say? If all we do is come around and read a bunch of poems to each other, what the hell are we doing?
You still shouldn't have done it, Charlie. You don't speak for the club.
Hey, would you not worry about your precious little necks? If they catch me, I'll tell them I made it up. All your asses are safe, okay? Look, Gloria and Tina didn't come here to listen to us argue. Are we gonna have a meeting or what?
Yeah, how do we know if we want to join if you don't have a meeting?
Join.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely, more temperate. In his recital, Charlie has aimed these words directly at Tina. She melts into warm goo.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Tina hugs Charlie. The other boys look at each other, trying unsuccessfully to hide their incredible jealousy. I wrote that for you.
Thank you. You did? Wow.
I'll write one for you too, Gloria.
What?
She
Oh,
walks
it's actually Tina.
beauty like the night. Charlie's eyes open. He has forgotten the words to this poem. Covering, he walks across the cave. She walks in beauty like the night. Charlie turns his back, picks up an open book, reads it quickly to himself. Oh, cloudless climes and starry skies, all that's best of dark and bright meet, and her aspect and her eyes.
Wow. Isn't he wonderful?
All the other boys are absolutely appalled, but desperately jealous that Charlie is getting away with this. Gloria hugs Charlie. Back at the Danbury house, music from the Drifters is playing loudly. Every light in the room is out, only illumination in the moonlight through the windows. Only after our eyes get adjusted to dark can we see that the room is filled with couples making out. Knox, carrying another drink and looking tipsy, enters. He walks a bit, then trips over a couple on the floor.
Hey!
Sorry.
Knox falls into the sofa. To his left sit a couple making out heavily. Their breathing is like that of some giant beast. Knox's right is another couple making out too. Knox tries to get up, but the couple he tripped over has now rolled against his shins, pinning him. Knox tries to get up, get comfortable in this little spot on the sofa, and the music stops. The room sounds like an artificial respiration ward. The couple to Knox's right look and sound as if they are going to chew each other's lips off. Knox glances at the couple to his left. He hears,
Oh, Chris, you're so beautiful.
the couple are Chris and Chet. Chris is sitting right next to Knox. The music starts again. It's This Magic Moment by the Drifters. Chris and Chet continue petting heavily. Knox tries to look away but can't keep his eyes off of Chris.
Chris, you're so gorgeous.
Chet kisses Chris so hard she leans against Knox. In the moon-filled room, Knox sees the outline of Chris's face, the nape of her neck, the curves of her breast. He downs the rest of his drink and tries to look away.
Oh my God, help me.
Chris obviously continues to lean against, or I'm sorry, obliviously continues to lean against Knox. Knox is struggling with temptation, trying not to even look. He's losing. Suddenly, he turns and looks at Chris again. Every rational thing inside him says no, but his emotions are saying yes.
Carpe breastum, seize the breast.
Huh?
I didn't say anything.
Chet and Chris continue to kiss. It's amazing. Though his hand were being drawn by a magnet too powerful to resist. Oh man. Knox's head reaches out and begins over so slightly to stroke the nape of Chris's neck, now down towards her breast. Chris obviously thinks the hand is Chet and she lets it continue. Knox moves his hand up and down her sensuously. He closes his eyes, breathing heavily. What a
Oh, Chet, that feels so fabulous.
It does? What?
You know,
Knox
you
pulls his
know.
hand away. Chet thinks a moment, then kisses Chris again.
Don't stop, please.
Stop what?
Chet,
Knox puts his hand back on Chris's neck. He then starts rubbing her ever so gently, moving down towards her breast.
oh,
We can see Chet's silhouette pausing over Chris, trying to figure out what she's talking about. Giving up, he goes back to kissing her. Chris continues to show her pleasure. Knox leans his head back on the sofa and his breathing becomes heavy. Oh, dude. The music builds. Unable to resist, he rubs Chris's chest, getting dangerously close to her breast. Chris is breathing hard. Knox is slipping into ecstasy. His drink falls out of his hand. Suddenly, Chet's hand grabs Knox's hand and the lamplight flicks on. Knox is face to face with a furious Chet and a confused Chris.
What are you doing?
Knox?
Chet, Chris, what are you doing here? Why, you...
Chet smashes rightfully Knox in the face with his fist. Chet grabs Knox by the shirt, throws him to the floor, and jumps on him. He begins swinging at Knox's face, which Knox is doing his best to protect.
You fucked up, you little prick.
Chet, you don't have to hurt him. Chet, stop. He didn't mean anything. That's enough.
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. You want some more, you little son of a bitch, huh? Get the hell out of here.
He moves at Knox again, but Chris and some others hold him back. Others lead Knox out of the room.
Chris, I'm sorry. Next time I see you, you're dead.
Back at the cave, the fire casts a warm light on the wall of the cave. Gloria sits with her arm around Charlie, staring adoringly. The bottle passes between him and Tina and the others. Hey guys, why don't you show Tina the Dead Poets Garden?
Garden?
What garden? Oh, right. That garden. Come on, guys.
This is so strange. You guys even have a garden?
What are you guys talking about? Charles, Nwanda, we don't have a garden.
Neil comes back in and pulls Meeks out. Charlie waits for them to go. God, for a smart guy, he is so stupid.
I think he's
Gloria
sweet.
stares into Charlie's eyes. Charlie smiles. I think you're sweet too, Gloria. Charlie looks at her. He closes his eyes and leans slowly in to kiss her. Just as he is about to, she stands.
You know what really excites me about you?
What?
Every guy that I meet wants me for one thing. My body. You're not like that.
I'm not.
No! Anybody else would have jumped my bones by now, but you're after my soul. Make me up some more poetry. Please. Please, it's so wonderful to be appreciated for my mind.
She gets up and starts pacing. Charlie puts his hand over his face. Shit. Gloria turns and looks at him.
Nwanda, please.
All right, I'm thinking. Let me not, to the marriage of true minds, admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when its alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove.
Don't stop.
Oh no, it is an ever-filled mark that looks upon the tempest and is never shaken. It is a star to every wandering bark whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken.
Ah, yes, this is better than sex any day. This is romance.
Okay, back at Welton Academy Chapel Day, the next day,
Ah,
there's a buzz in the student. Okay, that Gloria really had it there. In the student body as they move towards their seats, passing the school newspapers amongst them. Knox's face is marked with bruises. The rest of the boys, especially Charlie's faces, are marked with exhaustion. Pitts hands Charlie a briefcase.
All set.
Charlie nods and Mr. Nolan enters. They all put away newspapers and Stan Nolan stretch the podium and motions for everyone to sit. They all obey.
In this week's issue of Walter Honor, there appeared an unauthorized and profane article about the need for girls at Welton. Rather than spend my valuable time ferreting out the guilty parties, and let me assure you, I will find them, I am asking any and all students who know anything about this article to make themselves known here and now. Whoever the guilty persons are, this is your only chance to avoid expulsion from this school.
Suddenly, somewhere in the room, there's a sound of a telephone ringing. Charlie briskly lifts the suitcase into his lap and opens it. Inside the briefcase is a ringing telephone. Everyone and the assembly is astounded. No one has ever done something this outrageous before. Charlie, undaunted, seemingly serious, answers the phone. Welton Academy, hello? Oh, yes, he is. Just a moment. Mr. Nolan, it's for you.
What?
Oh, it is. You do? I'll tell him. Mr. Nolan, it's God. He says we should have girls at Welton. There is a blast of laughter from the students on stage with the Keating is surprised and amused, but worried. He and McAllister exchange concerned looks. Blood red, furious Nolan strides down the aisle to Charlie. He sweeps the phone off Charlie's lap.
I will not be mocked, Mr. Dalton.
He takes Charlie by the arm and jerks him out of the assembly. I guess I'm in detention now. Keating watches with concern. Back in Nolan's office, Charlie stands in the middle room. Nolan paces furiously.
Who else was involved in this?
No one, sir. It was just me. I did the proofing, so I inserted my article in place of Rob Crane's.
Mr. Dalton, if you think you're the first to try to get thrown out of this school, think again. Others have had similar actions and they have failed just as surely as you will fail. Bend over and grab your shins.
Is that legal? Charlie obeys and Nolan produces a paddle. The paddle has holes drilled into it to speed its progress. Nolan takes off his jacket and moves behind Charlie.
Count it loud, Mr. Dalton.
1, 2. Nolan delivers and Charlie counts. By the 4th lick. Oh, that sounds quaint. Lick. The pain is so intense that Charlie is barely audible. By the 7th lick, tears are flowing down Charlie's cheeks, and the 9th and 10th licks have Charlie choking on his words, speechless. Nolan stops after 10.
Do you still insist that this was your idea and your idea alone?
Yes, sir.
What is this Dead Poets Society? I want names.
It's only me, sir. Mr. Nolan, I swear I made it up.
If I find that there are others, Mr. Dalton, they will be expelled and you will remain enrolled. Stand up. Welton can forgive, Mr. Dalton, provided you have the courage to admit your mistakes. When you are ready to make your apology to the entire school, let me know.
Back in the junior dorm afternoon, the boys are smiling or milling in their rooms waiting for Charlie's return. Someone sees him coming and all pretend to be studying. As Charlie enters, moving slowly, trying not to show his pain, he walks towards his room. The boys approach him.
What happened? Were you kicked out?
No.
What happened?
Supposed to turn everybody in, apologize to the school, and all will be forgiven.
What are you gonna do, Charlie?
Damn it! Neil, the name is Nuwanda. Charlie gives the boys a pregnant look, then goes to his room and slams the door. Smiles of admiration cross the boys' faces. Charlie has not been broken. Interior, Welton classroom building, afternoon. Keating walks down the corridor. He is just about to stop and talk to McAllister when Nolan passes.
Mr. Keating, could we have a word?
Keating and Nolan enter. Keating turns on the light and Nolan looks around.
This was my first classroom, John. Did you know that? My first desk.
I didn't know you taught.
English, way before your time. It was hard giving it up, I'll tell you. I'm hearing rumors, John, of some unusual teaching methods in your classroom. I'm not saying they have anything to do with the Dalton boys' outburst, but I don't think I have to warn you that boys his age are very impressionable.
Your reprimand made quite an impression, I'm sure.
What was going on in the courtyard the other day?
The courtyard?
Boys marching, clapping in unison.
Oh, that. That was an exercise to prove a point about the evils of conformity.
John, the curriculum here is set. It's proven. It works. If you question it, what's to prevent them from doing the same?
Well, I always thought education was learning to think for yourself.
At these boys' age, not on your life. Tradition, John. Discipline. Prepare them for college, and the rest will take care of itself.
Nolan smiles and leaves. Keating stands thinking. After a beat, McAllister sticks his head in the door. I wouldn't worry about the boys being too conformist if I were you.
Why is that?
Well, you yourself graduated from these hollow halls, didn't you?
Yes.
So if you want to raise a confirmed atheist, give him a rigid religious upbringing. Every time. Keating stares at McAllister. He suddenly lets out a laugh. McAllister smiles and disappears down the hall. Back in the dorm, the boys are walking out of the way to their activities. Keating enters and approaches Charlie, who is exiting with his friends. Hey, Mr. Keating!
I don't know what misguided impulse caused you to pull that ridiculous stunt, Mr. Dalton. But whatever it was, I hope you've learned your lesson.
You're citing Mr. Nolan? What about carpe diem and sucking all the marrow out of life and all of that?
Sucking out the marrow doesn't mean getting the bones stuck in your throat, Charles. You still have responsibilities to yourself and those who care about you.
That's what I thought.
There is a place for daring and a place for caution as well, Charles, and a wise person understands which one is called for. Getting expelled from the school is not an act of wisdom. It's far from the perfect, but there are still opportunities to be had here.
Yeah, like what?
Like if nothing else, the opportunity to attend my class, understand?
Yes, sir.
Keep your head up. Keep your head about you. A lot of you understand.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Also, the bit was hilarious.
Keating gives him a slight smile and exits. Keating's classroom later day. Boys are seated. Keating walks to the blackboard and a big scrawl and writes, college. Collage.
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 Gentlemen, today we will consider a skill which I consider indispensable for getting the most out of college. Analyzing books you haven't read. College will probably destroy your love for poetry. Hours of boring analysis, dissection, and criticism will see to that. College will also expose you to all the manner of literature, much of it transcendent works of magic which you must devour, some of it utter dreck which you must avoid like the plague. Suppose you are taking a course entitled Modern Novels. All semester you've been reading masterpieces such as the touching Pierre Guerre by Balzac, and the moving Fathers and Sons, and by Turgenev. When you receive your assignment for your final paper, you discover that you are to write an essay on the theme of parental love in the doubtful debutante. Huh? All right. A novel, and I use that term generously here, by none other than the professor himself. After reading the first 3 pages of the book, you realize that you would rather volunteer for combat than waste your precious earthly time infecting your mind with this sewage. But do you despair? Take an F? Absolutely not, because you are prepared. Open the doubtful deb and learn from the jacket that the book is about Frank, a farm equipment salesman who sacrifices everything to provide his social climbing daughter, Christine, with the debut she so desperately desires. Begin your essay by disclaiming the need to restate the plot while at the same time regurgitating enough of it to convince the professor that you've read his book. Next, shift to something pretentious and familiar. For instance, you might write, what is remarkable to note are the similarities between the author's dire picture of parental love and modern Freudian theory. Christine is Electra, her father is fallen Oedipus. Finally, skip to the obscure and elaborate like this. What is most remarkable is the novel's uncanny connection with Hindu-Indian philosopher Avesh Rajesh Nan. Rajesh Nan discussed in painful detail the discarding of parents by children for the 3-headed monster of ambition, money, and social success. Go on to discuss Rajesh Nan's theories about what feeds the monster, how to behead it, etc., etc. And by praising the professor's brilliant writing and consummate courage in introducing the doubtful deb to you. Yep.
Oh, Captain, my captain. What if we don't know anything about someone like Rajesh Nan?
Rajesh, thank you. Rajesh Nan never existed, Mr. Meeks. You make him or someone like him up. No self-important college professor such as this one would dare admit ignorance of such an obviously important figure, and you will probably receive a comment similar to the one I received. Your allusions to Rajesh Nan were insightful and well presented. Glad to see that someone besides myself appreciates this great but forgotten Eastern master. A+. Gentlemen, analyzing dreadful books you haven't read will be on your final exam, so I suggest you practice on your own. Now for some traps of college exams. Take cut A blue book and pencil, boys. This is a pop quiz.
The boys obey. Keating passes out tests. He sets up a screen in front of the room, then goes to the back of the room and sets up a slide projector.
Big universities are crowded Sodoms and Gomorrahs, filled with those delectable beasts we see so little of here, females. The level of this is dangerously high, but this quiz is designed to prepare you. Quiz is designed to prepare you. Let me warn you, this test will count. Begin.
Boys begin their test. Keating puts a slide on the projector. On the screen in front room appears a blow-up of a beautiful girl, college age, leaning over to pick up a pencil. Her figure is quite remarkable, and bending over as she is, you can see her panties. Wow. The boys glance up from their tests, then most do a double take on the photo.
Concentrate on your test, boys. You have 20 minutes.
Keating changes the slide. This time we see a beautiful woman in scanty lingerie, an ad from Vogue or some similar magazines. The boys find it extremely difficult to concentrate on their tests. The slide now continues with slide after slide of beautiful women in revealing and provocative poses. Tight blow-ups of naked female Greek statues, etc. The boys try in vain to take their tests. Knox writes Chris, Chris, Chris over and over and over on his paper. Dissolve 2, Welton campus, dusk. Boys in heavy jackets and wooden mufflers move from building to building. The wind blows leaves around in swirling torrents. England on a path where Todd and Neil walk together. Todd holds a copy of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Neil is using his puck gesture stick like a sword while practicing his lines.
Here, villain, draw and ready. Where art thou?
I will be with thee straight.
Follow me then to plainer ground. God, I love this.
Display?
Yes! And acting! It's gotta be one of the most wonderful things in the world. Most people, if they're lucky, then they live about half the exciting life. If I could get the parts in, I could live dozens of lives. Parkour. To be or not to be, that is the question. God, for the first time in my whole life, I feel completely alive. You have to try it. Literally, just jump on the wall. You should come to the rehearsals. I know they need people to work on the lights and stuff.
No, thanks.
Lots of girls. The girl who plays Hermia is incredible.
I'll come to the performance.
Chicken shit. Where were we?
Yeah, art thou there?
Put more into it.
Yea, art thou there?
That's it. Follow my voice. We'll try no manhood here. See you at dinner.
Neil and Todd have arrived at their dorm. Neil runs in. Todd shakes his head and walks off. Interior Todd and Neil's room. Neil enters in a whirlwind of excitement. He's in a tizzy, fencing the air with a gesture stick. Neil turns and sees his father sitting at his desk. Neil is shocked.
Father.
Neil, you're going to quit this ridiculous play immediately.
Father,
Don't you dare talk back to me. It's bad enough that you've wasted your time with this absurd acting business, but you deliberately deceived me. Who put this in your head? How did you expect to get away with it? Answer me.
Nobody. I thought I'd surprise you. I got all A's and I thought...
Did you really think I wouldn't find out? My niece is in a play with your son. Mrs. Marks says, you must be mistaken, I say. My son isn't in a play. You made me a liar out of me, Neil. Now you will go tomorrow and tell them you are quitting.
Father, I have the main part. The performance is tomorrow night. Father, please.
I don't care if the world is coming to an end tomorrow night. You are through with that play. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
I've made great sacrifices to get you here, Neil. You will not let me down.
He turns and exits. Neil stands there for a long time. He goes to his desk, then suddenly begins pounding his fist on it. He pounds and pounds, and tears roll down his face. In the Welton Hall dining room evening, all of the society pledges except Neil sit eating. It could be noticed that the boys seem to be having difficulty in eating. They look awkward. Old Hager approaches.
Harumph, harumph. Mr. Dalton, what is wrong, son? Are you having difficulty with your meal?
No.
Mr. Meeks and Overstreet and Anderson, are you normally left-handed?
No, sir.
Then why are you eating with your left hands?
They look at each other and Knox speaks for the group.
We thought it would be good to break old habits, sir.
What is wrong with old habits, Mr. Overstreet?
They perpetuate mechanical living, sir. They limit your mind.
Mr. Overstreet, I suggest you worry less about breaking old habits and more about developing good study habits. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That goes for all of you. Now eat with your correct hands.
Hager watches. The boys obey. After he moves away, Charlie switches hands and begins eating with his left hand again. One by one, the others do the same. Neil enters looking solemn and upset. He silently takes a seat at the table.
Visit from my father.
Do you have to quit the play?
I don't know.
Why don't you talk to Mr. Keating about it?
What good will that do?
Maybe he'll have some advice. Maybe he'll even talk to your father.
Are you kidding? Don't be ridiculous.
Keating's room evening. Keating's quarters are on the second floor of the dorm, but they are entered from the outside. Charlie, Todd, Pitts, and Neil stand outside the door, and Charlie knocks.
This is stupid.
It's better than doing nothing. No one comes to the door.
He's not here.
Charlie tries the door and it opens. Let's wait for him. Charlie goes in.
Charlie, Nawanda.
Charlie doesn't come out. Curiosity gets the best of the others, who reluctantly follow Charlie in. Interior Keating's room, same. The furniture is simple and Spartan, with the room looks almost lonely. The boys stand around looking uncomfortable. What's that?
Wanda, we shouldn't be in here.
They survey the room. There's a suitcase on the floor by the door. A few books laid by the bed. Charlie walks to the desk. Whoa, look at her. On the desk is a framed picture of a beautiful girl in her 20s. Lying next to the picture is a half-written letter. Charlie picks it up and reads. My darling Jessica, it's so lonely at times without you, blah, blah, blah. All I can do to put myself at ease is study your beautiful picture or close my eyes and imagine your radiant smile. But my poor imagination is a dim substitute for you. Oh, how I miss you and wish. The other boys have sensed an extra presence in the room. They back away from Charlie. Suddenly, Charlie stops and sees Mr. Keating. Oh, hello.
A woman is cathedral, boys. Worship at one every chance you get. Anything else you'd care to rifle through, Mr. Dalton?
I'm sorry.
Well, Captain, my captain, we came here so I could talk to you about something.
Okay.
Actually, I'd like to talk to you alone.
I gotta go study.
Okay. Bye, Mr. Keating.
Yeah. See you, Mr. Keating.
Drop by anytime.
Thank you, sir.
Laser. Damn it, Wanda, you idiot.
Couldn't stop myself. Keating can't
Damn it,
help but
Charlie.
smile to himself. Neil and Mr. Keating are alone. Neil paces, looking around.
Gosh, they don't give you much room around here, do they?
Maybe they don't want worldly things distracting me from my teaching.
Why do you do it? I mean, with all this seize the day business, like I'd have thought that you've been out seeing the world or something.
But I am seeing the world, Neil. The new world. Seeing a student like you take root and bloom, it's worth everything. That's why I came back here. A place like this needs at least one teacher like me. Did you come here to talk about my teaching?
Mr. Keating, Mr. Keating, my father is making me quit the play at Henley Hall. When I think about Carpe Diem and all of that, I feel like I'm in prison. And I mean, I can see his point. We're not a rich family like Charlie's or whatever, but he's planned the rest of my life for me, and he's never even asked me for what I want.
You can't live a life for someone else, Neil. You can only live for yourself. Have you told your father what you just told me? Have you shown him your passion about acting?
Are you kidding? He'd kill me.
Then you're playing a part for him too, aren't you? A dangerously self-destructive one. Neil, I know this seems impossible, but you have to go to your father and show him what you're feeling. You have to let him see who you are. It's your only chance.
I know what he'll say. He'll say that acting is just a whim and that it's frivolous and that I should just forget about it. And he'll tell me how they're counting on me to put it out of my mind and it's for my own good.
Well, if it's more than a whim, then you'll have to prove that to him. You'll have to show him with your passion and commitment that it's what you really want to do. If that does, at least, if that does do the trick, at least by then you'll be 18 and able to do what you want. And if he does, deny it, then you'll be 18 and be able to do what you want.
18? You mean 34 almost? That's 2 years. That's 2 weeks. What about the play? The performance is tomorrow night.
Give your father the benefit of the doubt. Talk to him. Let him see who you are.
Isn't there an easier way?
Not if you're gonna stay true to yourself.
Neil sits there for a long time. Interior Charlie's cave night. The boys sit in a candlelit room. Charlie blows notes on a saxophone. Come here. Here, saxophone. Yeah.
Come on, Starbuck.
Mumbling to himself, working on a love poem to Chris. Todd sits writing something too. Cameron is studying. Fitz is scratching a quote out of a book onto the wall. Knox looks at his watch.
10 minutes to curfew. What are you writing?
I don't know, a poem.
For class?
A poem.
I don't know.
He's writing La Poem. Charlie keeps playing the sax. Todd keeps writing. Knox looks at his love poem to Chris, slaps it on the side of his poem leg. Poetic leg.
Damn. Damn. If I could just get Chris to read this poem.
Why don't you read it to her? It worked for Nuwanda.
She won't even see me, Pitts.
Nuwanda recited poetry to Gloria and she jumped all over him, right, Nuwanda?
Absolutely. Charlie starts blowing notes on his saxophone again. Off in the distance, we hear a bell ring. Charlie finishes his melody, puts his sax in its case, and moves out. Todd, Cameron, and Pitts exit too. Knox stands there alone, looking at his poem, then exits determinedly.
Damn. God damn. If it worked for him, it'll work for me.
Exterior, the Welton grounds, early morning. The dawn rises over the frozen Welton campus. Snow covers the ground. The school bagpiper stands playing a haunting melody. In the school dormitory, the same. Knox comes out of the dorm building, bundled against the freezing weather. He hurries into his bike and speeds away. Exterior, Ridgeway High. A large sign proclaims Ridgeway High School. Knox bikes up to the door at full speed. He now carries a bouquet of flowers. Out of breath, he quickly discards the bike and runs to the school. Interior hallways out of Ridgeway High. Morning, students of both sexes move through the hallways of this public school. Students are in their lockers, putting up their coats and getting out their books. Knox runs through, erratically looking around. He hurries down one hallway, stops and asks the student something, then runs up a flight of stairs. Interior, another Ridgeway High day. Same. Chris stands in front of her locker, chatting with a couple of girlfriends, taking out some books. Knox spots her and approaches.
Chris?
Knox, what are you doing here?
I came to apologize for the other night. I brought you these and a poem I wrote.
He holds out the flowers in the poem, and Chris sees them but doesn't take them.
If Chet sees you, he'll kill you. Don't you know that?
I don't care. I love you, Chris. You deserve better than Chet, and I'm it. Please accept these.
Knox, you crazy.
Crazy.
Please.
Bell rings. People clear the halls.
Please. I acted like a jerk and I know it. Please.
She looks at the flowers as if she's thinking about accepting them.
No, and stop bugging me.
She walks into the classroom and closes the door. The hallway clears. Knox stands holding his flowers and his poem. There's a moment's hesitation. He opens up the door and walks into the classroom. Class hasn't started, but the students are taking their seats. The teacher leans over to the student's desk, helping her with her homework. Knox enters and walks to Chris's desk.
Knox, I don't believe this.
All I'm asking you to do is listen. The heavens made a girl named Chris, with hair and skin of gold. To touch her would be paradise, to kiss her glory untold.
Chris turns red with embarrassment, as any girl would. Her friends restrain giggles. Knox continues reading.
They made a goddess and called her Chris. How? I'll never know. But though my soul is far behind, my love can only grow.
The rest of the class has now seen what is happening and all eyes are on Knox. Chris covers her face, but Knox continues.
I see a sweetness in her smile. Bright light shines from her eyes. But life is complete. Contentment is mine. Just knowing that she's alive.
Knox lowers the poem. Chris looks up at him, utterly embarrassed. Knox puts the poem and the flowers on her desk.
I love you, Chris.
Then he leaves. Smart move. Enter Keating's classroom day. The boys sit. Keating has not arrived. Momentarily, Knox enters and hurries to his desk. How'd it go? Did you read it to her?
Yup.
All right, what'd she
All right. Oh, that's not me. No, wait. All right. What'd she say?
No, too slow, bitch.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you later.
The door to the room opens. In walks Keating wearing his usual scarf and jacket. He puts his books on his desk and looks out over the class.
Neil, can I see you a moment?
He walks to the hallway, interior hallway outside the classroom. The corridor is empty except for Neil and Keating. Keating closes the door to the classroom.
What did your father say? Did you talk to him?
Yeah.
Really? You told your father what you told me? You let him see your passion for acting?
Yeah. He didn't like it one bit, but at least he's letting me stay in the play. I mean, of course he won't be able to come. He'll be in Chicago on business, but I think he's gonna let me stay with acting as long as I keep my grades up.
Neil heads back to the classroom. Keating watches. Interior dorm, phone room, stairwell, night. All the boys wear coats and ties. They mill the dorm lobby. Knox is off to himself, still looking morose.
Where's Nwanda? We're gonna miss Neil's entrance.
He said something about getting red before he left.
What the hell does that mean?
You know, Charlie.
What's this getting red?
Charlie checks around and opens his shirt, revealing that he has painted a red lightning bolt on his chest.
What's it for?
It's a Native American warrior symbol for virility. It makes me feel potent, like I can drive the girls crazy.
But what if they see it, Nwanda?
So much the better. The others shoot each other looks, confirming their mutual suspicion that Charlie has finally lost his marbles. True facts. As they head out to the lobby, they pass Chris, who is entering.
Chris.
Knox, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to me?
You can't be in here.
Exterior dorm. He leads her out of the dorm. Outside, it is snowing. Knox ushers Chris out of the building and down the sidewalk away from the others.
If they catch you here, we'll both be in big trouble.
Oh, but it's fine for you to come barging into my school and make a complete fool out of me.
I didn't mean to make you a fool of you.
Well, you did. Chet found out, and he's nuts. It took everything I could to do to keep him from coming here and killing you. You have to stop this stuff, Knox.
But I love you.
You say that over and over, but you don't even know me.
Go ahead. I'll catch up. Of course I know you. From the first time I saw you, I knew you had a wonderful soul.
Just like that? You just
Of
knew?
course, just like that. That's how you always know when it's right.
And if it so happens that you're wrong, if it just so happens that I would care less about you,
Then you wouldn't be here warning me about Chet.
look, I've got to go. I'm gonna be late for the play.
Are you going with Chet?
Chet, to a play? Are you kidding?
Then come with me.
Knox, you are so infuriating.
Just give me one chance. If you don't like me after tonight, I'll stay away forever.
Uh-huh.
I promise. Dead Poet's honor. Come with me tonight. Then if you don't want to see me again, I swear I'll bow out.
God, if Chet found out, he'd.
Chet won't know anything. We'll sit in the back and sneak away as soon as it's over.
Knox, if you promise that this will be the end of it,
Dead Poet's honor.
what is that?
My word.
He crosses his heart with his fingers and looks sincere. He leads a reluctant Chris off.
I must be losing my mind.
Interior Hensley Hall Auditorium and stage. The auditorium is filled to near capacity with families, teachers and students, all the kids and seats in the back. They spot Mr. Keating in a few rows over and wave at him. Beside him is Mr. McAllister. The lights go down, a small musical accompaniment. Panpipes, bongos, triangle, plays, whatever. The curtain rises. As the actors make their entrance, they are applauded by their families and friends. As the actors begin the play, Charlie notices out of the corner of his eye Knox entering with Chris. They find seats and sit together. Charlie shoots Knox a surprised look of excitement. Yeah, buddy! Knox gives a little nod. Short dissolve to the stage. Dun, dun, dun. Neil makes his entrance as Puck. He wears a crown of flowers. The members of the Dead Poet Society cheer loudly. For a moment, Neil looks lost. Todd crosses his fingers.
Float now, spirit. Whither wander you?
Over hill, over dale, through brush, through briar. Keating glances back at the Dead Poets and gives them the thumbs up for luck as for Neil. They acknowledge with gestures of their own.
Thou speakest right. I am merry wanderer of the night. I just to Oberon and make him smile when I am a fat and being fed horse beguiled, but neighing and likeness of a filly foal. Yes, I can't read right now.
Angel and the Dead
Cool,
Poets
great.
intensely watching the show as Neil delivers his lines, getting laughs from the right places. Todd sits mouthing the lives with him, as this might help Neil get through it. Neil clearly needs no help, though. His performance is quite winning. Charlie leans to the others. He's good. He's goddamn good. Someone behind whispers, shh. Charlie whispers, shh, back at him because Charlie's a smart ass and I love him. Then turns back and watches the show. Suddenly he does a double take. Mr. Perry's enters in the rear of the auditorium and stands alone beside the door. Oh my God.
What?
Charlie indicates to the others to look. Todd and the others glance back to see Mr. Perry.
She is.
They all turn back. Later, they are now quite tense about Mr. Perry's presence. On the stage, the characters of Lysander and Hermia. Hermia is played by Ginny Danbury, who is fetchingly dressed in a costume of leaves and twigs.
One turf shall serve as pillow for us both. Cue garbage truck.
There's like
One heart. Okay, it was just, yeah, anyway. One heart, one bed, two bosoms, and one trough.
Nay, good Lysander, for my sake, my dear, lie further off, yet do not lie so near.
Angle on the Dead Poets. Charlie is looking through the program. Hermia is Ginberry Danbury. Knox is crazy. She's beautiful. Mace holds his finger to his lips for Charlie to be quiet.
But gentle friend, for love and courtesy lie further off. In human modesty, such separation as may well be said becomes a virtuous bachelor and a maid. So far be distant, and good night, sweet friend. Thy love near altar till they sweet love and life end.
Charlie sits absolutely enraptured by her. Angle backstage. Neil is hurriedly changing from his Puck costume into Puck's Robin disguise. Neil's father approaches.
Neil, get over here.
Father?
I gave you orders and you deliberately disobeyed me.
Father, I had to do it. Please. Father, I have to be on stage.
You will not
My
go back
cue.
on that stage.
Neil steps towards the stage. Sorry, guys, trying to wrench away from his father's grip. He inadvertently pulls his father onto the stage with him. Angle on the stage, the audience stirs some laugh, thinking this is part of the play. Dr. Perry is furious.
You will do as I say.
I am sick of doing what you say.
Neil still tries to pull away. Dr. Perry, blood red with anger and embarrassment, slaps the struggling Neil across the face. The audience gasps. Many stand as if to do something. Dr. Perry drags the humiliated, protesting Neil off the stage. Exterior auditorium parking lot night. Dr. Perry exits the auditorium holding the struggling, protesting Neil. All the boys, including Mr. Keating and Jessica and a few others, rush out of the auditorium. They see Dr. Perry push Neil toward the car. Keating rushes to them. He puts a hand on Dr. Perry's arm.
Dr. Perry, give Neil a chance to explain. He's...
Don't you dare tell me how to raise my son.
Dr. Perry puts Neil in the car and gets in. Charlie starts to move with the car. Keating grabs him.
Don't make it worse than it already is.
Dr. Perry starts his car and pulls away. Neil looks imploringly back at his friends as the car drives off.
Neil.
Exterior of the club cave night. The wind is blowing. All the boys and the pits are huddled for warmth.
Don't make it worse than it already is.
Dr. Perry starts his car and pulls away. Neil. Oh wait, hold on.
Neil, again.
I'm sorry. I'm for work. That's right. The wind is blowing. Todd Charlie makes. Sorry, the script repeats itself.
Where's Cameron?
Yeah, there we go. Who knows? Who cares? Charlie walks over to the wall of the weave and pounds it with his fist. Next time I see Dr. Perry, I'm going to smash him. I don't care what happens to me. He strikes the wall again. Keating enters. Jessica at his stride looks at the faces of the boys.
Let us have a moment of silence in support of fellow pledge Perry. All right, we mustn't be glum. Neil wouldn't want it that way. Let us join with the howling night.
Keating walks off. The others follow. Chris looks at Knox.
Knox, what is going on here?
You'll see.
I have to go home.
It's just for a little while. You promised.
Chris reluctantly follows Knox. Exterior campus of Welton night. The moon is full. The stars are out. The night is clear and cold. Every tree is covered with icicles. They freeze has turned the otherwise barren forest into a wintertime marvel. Mother Nature was covered the world with sparkling diamonds. Keating leads the boys up a wooden path to a cliff overlooking the creek. The boys quickly gather sticks and fire is built.
Would you like to convene the meeting, Mr. B?
We went to the woods because we wanted to suck all the marrow out of life. Who wants to read?
Come on, boys, don't be shy.
Keating produces a pocket knife and quickly whittles a stick into a skewer. From a small brown paper bag, he produces pieces of raw food.
I have something.
Todd's volunteering surprises everyone. Todd steps forward and takes some papers from his pocket. He passes slips of paper to each of the others.
Everybody read this between verses. We are dreaming of tomorrow and tomorrow isn't coming. We are dreaming of a glory that we don't really want. We are dreaming of a new day when the new day is here already. We are running from the battle when it's one that mustn't be fought.
And still we
Till
weep.
we sleep.
Sleep.
We are listening for the calling, but never really heeding. Hoping for the future with the future's only plans. Dreaming of the wisdom that we are dodging daily. Praying for a savior when salvation's in our hands.
And still we sleep.
And still we dream, and still we pray, and still we fear, and still we sleep.
Bravo, Mr. Anderson. Wonderful.
Todd nods, taking us all in. He steps down and gets a congratulatory slaps on the back. Keating begins putting the raw meat onto the skewer.
What's that stuff, Mr. Key?
Food for thought, my boy.
He lays the skewer on the fire. Flames flare around the sizzling meat. Resolve to exterior Perry home night, interior Dr. Perry's car night. Dr. Perry and Neil pull into the driveway in silence. Dr. Perry turns the engine off and turns to Neil.
Son, I am trying very hard to understand why you insist on defying me. Whatever the reason, I am not going to let you ruin your life. Tomorrow I am withdrawing you from Welton and enrolling you in Norfolk Military School.
Tears well fresh in Neil's already bloodshot eyes.
No, Father, please.
You have opportunities I never had, Neil. I won't let you squander them.
Dr. Perry opens his car door and gets out. Exterior, the cliff above the creek. Night. Keating takes the skewer off the fire.
Food, people.
He hands the food around.
For Mr. Dalton, marrow.
Charlie looks at the piece in front of him. Really?
Absolutely, Charles.
All eyes are on Charlie. He takes a piece and eats the anticipating disgust. A slight smile across his face. Hey, not bad. He holds the spoon to his mouth and makes a loud sucking sound. All laugh.
For Mr. Meeks, brains.
More laughter. Meeks looks at the brains. He musters his courage, then shovels them down and chews. The thought of them clearly makes him queasy, but he keeps chewing.
For Mr. Anderson.
Oh. Todd takes it in good humor and eats.
For Mr. Overstreet and his friend, a heart.
Aww, they all laughed. Chris looks in disgust, the heart she and Knox are supposed to eat.
Are you people crazy or what?
Knox eats some of the heart. Chris reluctantly does the same. The others applaud.
And for the rest of us toes.
He hands toes to Jessica and Pitts.
The toe should be nibbled, I believe, right, Miss Jessica?
Jessica smiles and then elbows Keating. Pitts tentatively nibbles a toe.
The world offers such variety, people. We must rush at it with our mouths open and partake of it greedily.
He pops a toe in his mouth and chews it with delight. What the hell are they eating? Interior hallway, Neil's house. Night. Down the hallway, his bedroom. Dr. Perry is undressing. A door to another room opens and Neil walks into the hall, unseen by his father, and turns a corner and moves off. Interior Dr. Perry's study. Night. Moonlight illuminates the room. There are a few medical plaques on the wall. The bookcases are full of medical books, and Neil enters. Neil stands looking around the study and then walks to his father's desk. He sits for a moment, looking at the objects on the desk. Prescription pad, stethoscope, miniature gold-plated heart that serves as a paperweight. Neil opens the top drawer and reaches in the back. From this, he pulls out a key. With this key, he unlocks the bottom drawer of the desk. Sitting in this drawer is a revolver. Exterior, cliff above the creek. Night. Keating kicks dirt on the fire and stands.
And now some words from the poet Vachel Lindsay. When I pause, you ask, are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Both lead and leg and big bass drum.
Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb?
Reciting loudly, Keating takes off, trotting through the woods. All trot after him.
The saints smiled gravely and they said, he's come.
Are you
washed in the blood of the Lamb?
Back in Dr. Perry's study. Night. Neil checks the chamber of the revolver. The gun is loaded. Back at the club at the cliff above the creek at night. We see a group following Keating through the woods, past icy trees, over the snow-covered hills, reciting Vachel Lindsay's poem. General William Booth enters into heaven.
Walking lepers followed rank on rank, lurching bravos from the ditches dank, drabs from the alleyways and drug fiends pale, mind still passion-ridden, soul powers frail.
Are you washed
in the blood of the Lamb?
Back in Dr. Perry's study, Neil puts the gun to his temple. He stares into nowhere. Back at the top of the hill, Night. Keating stands before a towering frozen waterfall. This gorgeous, icy sculpture seems to defy all the laws of gravity. The night sky is incredibly clear. The people in the group are lit by moonlight on the snow.
Christ came gently with a robe and a crown. For Booth the soldier while the throng knelt down. He saw King Jesus, they were face to face, and he knelt a weeping in that holy place.
Are you
washed in the blood of the Lamb?
Back on Neil and Dr. Perry's study. Neil's finger slowly pulls the trigger of the gun. Get down. Pan away from Neil's face. Sorry. Bad timing. Pan away from Neil's face to the snowy view out of the study through the window. We hear it.
Way to ruin my death, Anne.
Blame this one. Back exterior hilltop, same. Keating stops. He turns and looks at the fields, valley, and the magnificent sky that surrounds them. All are out of breath but exhilarated.
We may or may not be the stuff of eternity, people, but while we are here, we are part of a vast, awesome magnificence.
He raises his hands to the heavens.
Don't waste a second of it, people. Exalted it.
He holds his head back and shouts to the heavens.
Alive! Alive!
Live!
Being alive.
Knox looks at Chris. Tears are streaming down both their faces. They turn to each other and kiss. Passionately dissolve to exterior campus pre-dawn. Keating walks through the frozen snow with Jessica, Todd, Charlie, Pitts, and Weeks. Chris and Knox are close behind, embracing and kissing. The majestic beauty of the snow-covered surroundings as the sun begins to rise is breathtaking.
Oh, Captain, my Captain,
Yes, Todd.
are you dying?
This takes Keating aback. The others too, but they await Keating's answer.
Were each of us dying, Mr. Anderson, I am simply dying faster. A rare trait, I'm told, inherited from my father.
Todd and the boys look at Keating. Many want to cry, but none do. Todd swallows hard.
Are you afraid?
Every minute of every day. Though, to be honest, I think I'm more afraid of being forgotten than of dying. The dead are treated frightfully, I think. They should be planted alongside football fields and golf courses next to swimming pools and movie theaters, so they won't be alone.
Why are you teaching? Why aren't you writing?
I no longer find joy working alone in my room. I find it in teaching. Perhaps teaching is what I should have been doing all along.
Gosh, if I were me, I'd want to be out seeing the world or something.
Why, Mr. Anderson, teaching is seeing the world. The new world. Seeing a student like you take root, ready to flower and bloom in any day.
Tell it to my parents.
Did it occur to you, Todd, that your parents could be dead wrong about you? How long have you been away at school? How many years?
Since I was 8.
Then how are they qualified to pass judgment when they hardly know you? They simply aren't looking.
But why?
I don't know. And you don't know. But whatever the reason, it's wrong. You know that, Todd.
Keating grabs a round icicle off a tree and holds it up to the dawning sun.
I hold in my hand a crystal ball. In it, I see great things for Todd Anderson. If he would only learn to stand up for what he knows. Believe in yourself, Todd Anderson. I do.
Todd looks at Keating, tears well up in Todd's eyes. Suddenly, Todd hugs the man. Keating hugs him back and then turns to the others.
Don't think I'm too ill to deliver a wail of a final exam or to grade you off severely if you confuse Wordsworth with Whitman. That goes for all of you. Now go to bed. Miss Jessica and I have things to do.
He takes Jessica's hand and rushes off with her through the snow. He makes a snowball and chases her off into the woods. Interior Todd's room, dawn. Todd enters. The room is getting its first dose of the winter's morning light. Todd plops down on his bed and covers himself with blankets. He turns and glances at Neil's empty bed, then closes his eyes. Later on, Todd sleeps in his bed. The door opens and in comes Charlie, Knox, and Meeks. They look shaken. They look at each other and then gently wake Todd. Todd! Todd! Todd opens his eyes. He sits up, looking exhausted. His eyes adjust to the light, then he closes them and lies back down. He picks up his clock and squints at it.
Jeez, it's only 8. I gotta sleep.
He lies back down for a moment, then opens his eyes again. He sees the other boys sitting there staring at him. He senses something is wrong. He sits up. Todd. Neil's dead. He shot himself. Todd looks at Charlie for a minute. The other faces confirm what Charlie's saying.
Oh my god.
He starts to vomit, and then he does. He runs out of the room, and the other boys look at each other. Suddenly, Charlie breaks into tears. He covers his face with his hands. Interior dorm bathroom day. Todd is moving back and forth, tears streaming down his face. He hits the walls with his hand.
Someone has to know it was his father. He wouldn't kill himself. He loved living.
You don't seriously think his father?
Not with the gun, damn it. Even if the bastard didn't pull the trigger, even if Dr. Perry didn't shoot him, he killed him. They have to know that. Neil.
Interior honor room later. The entire junior class is assembled. Standing along the walls are the teachers, Keating included. Nolan enters.
Gentlemen, the death of Neil Perry is a tragedy. He was a fine student, one of Welton's best, and he will be missed. We have contacted each of you. You're explaining the situation. Naturally, all are quite concerned. At the request of Neil's family, I intend to conduct a thorough inquiry into this matter. Your complete cooperation is expected.
Interior Keating's classroom day. The room is dark. The boys enter. Keating stands solemnly in front of his desk. On the backboard behind him is written the following: Only the day of judgment, man will judge God.
Life's not fair that we should lose one so young and talented. I fully expected to be the first full-fledged member of the Dead Poets Society. So it is with great sadness that instead we must induct Neil Perry. Do not go gentle into that good night, Neil Perry. Rage. Rage against the dying of the light. Rage!
Interior dorm bathroom day. Charlie, Todd, Knox, and Pitt stand waiting. There's a knock at the door and then Meeks enters.
I can't find him.
You told him about this meeting?
Twice.
Oh, shit. Charlie goes to the window and looks out across the lawn. In the distance is the admin building. That's it, guys. We're all fried.
You don't know that. Maybe he.
Cameron's a faint. Why else wasn't he at the last meeting? He's in Nolan's office right now thinking.
But why? Why would he do that?
To save himself. Down the hall, there's a sound of a door opening. Knox goes to the door and looks out. He sees Cameron opening the door to his room.
Cameron. Cameron.
Cameron looks at Knox and Cameron looks away and goes to his room. Knox turns back to the others. He's stunned.
You're right.
In Cameron and Charlie's room day, Cameron is at the window looking out. The door blasts open. There stands Charlie with the others crowding behind him. You finked, didn't you, Cameron?
I don't know what you mean.
You were the one who had Nolan search my room. And you just told Nolan everything about the club.
In case you haven't heard, Dalton, there's something called an honor code at this school. If a teacher asks you something, you tell the truth or you're expelled.
Why you?
Charlie.
He's a rat. He's up to his eyes, so he's ratted to save himself.
Don't touch him, Charlie. You do and you're out.
I'm out anyway.
You don't know that. Not yet.
He's right there, Charlie. And if you're smart, every one of you will do exactly what I did and cooperate. They're not after us. We're the victims. Us and Neil.
What does that mean? Who are they after?
Why, Mr. Keating, of course. The captain himself. You didn't really think he could avoid responsibility, did you?
Mr. Keating? Responsible for Neil? Is that what they're saying?
Who else do you think, you dumbass? The administration, Dr. Perry. Keating put us all up to all this crap, didn't he? If it wasn't for him, Neil would be cozied up in his room right now, studying his chemistry and dreaming of being called doctor.
That's not true. Mr. Keating didn't tell Neil what to do. Neil loved acting.
Believe what you want, but I say let Keating fry. Why ruin our lives?
You fucking asshole. Charlie boats across the room and strikes Cameron across the face. Cameron falls to the floor. Charlie stands over him.
Charlie!
You just signed your expulsion papers, Nuwanda. If the rest of you guys are smart, you'll do exactly what I did. They know everything anyway. You can't save Keating, but you can save yourselves.
Interior Todd's dorm room day. Neil's bed is stripped and his desk is empty. Todd sits at his window looking across campus at the admin building. Momentarily, Meeks is escorted out by Dr. Sager. Sager escorts Meeks across the campus back to the dorm. Interior of the dorm hallway. Todd peers out of the door of his room. Meeks and Sager enter the hallway. Sager stops at the end of the hall. Meeks walks silently back to his room. As he passes Todd, he doesn't look at him, but tears stream down Meeks' face. Meeks enters his room and shuts the door.
Knox Overstreet.
Knox comes out of his rooms and joins Sager at the end of the hall. The pair exit together. Momentarily, Todd walks across the hall to Meeks' room. Todd knocks.
Meeks, it's Todd.
Go away. I have to study.
What happened to Charlie?
Expelled?
What'd you tell?
Nothing they didn't already know.
Todd turns away. Dissolved to Todd's room later. Todd watches as Knox is escorted across campus and back to the door by Mr. Sager. Again, Todd peers into the hall. Doorway, hallway. Knox and Sager enter. Knox's chin is quivering. He is on the verge of breakdown. He goes to his room and shuts the door. Todd steps back into his room and leans against the wall. The fact that Knox has been broken clearly shakes him up. He breathes hard and looks up at the ceiling.
Todd Anderson?
Interior Nolan's office day. Headmaster Nolan sits at the desk. On one side of the room is Dr. Perry. On the other side are Todd's parents. Recognizable from the picture on Todd's desk. Todd enters with Dr. Sager. Todd sees Dr. Perry and then his parents.
Mother, dad?
I've never been so disappointed in my life.
How could you do
How
this?
could you-
Oh. How could you
that's
do
you.
this after all we've done for you?
Have a seat, Mr. Anderson.
There is an empty chair, like the prisoner's chair at an inquisition in front of Nolan's desk. Todd sits. He looks up at his parents, who are still steely-eyed. Perspiration breaks out all across Todd's brow.
Mr. Anderson, I think we've pretty well put together what's happened here. You do admit to being part of this Dead Poets Society.
Todd looks at his parents and Nolan. He closes his eyes. He starts to nod yes, but before he can, his father speaks.
Answer it.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir.
The regular members, besides Neil, were Knox Overstreet, Charles Dalton, Stephen Meeks, Richard Cameron, Gerard Pitts, and you, who acted as secretary. Any others?
No, sir.
I can't hear you, Todd.
No, sir. No, sir.
Nolan looks at Todd and the boy's parents. Nolan decides not to press the issue of Todd's inaudibility. Nolan holds up a piece of paper.
I have here a detailed description of what went on at your meetings. It describes how your teacher, Mr. Keating, encouraged you boys to organize the club and to use it as a source of inspiration for reckless, self-indulgent behavior. It describes how Mr. Keating's behavior, both in and out of the classroom, encouraged Neil Perry to follow this obsession of acting when Mr. Keating knew it went directly against the explicit orders of Neil's family. It is Mr. Keating's blatant abuse of his position as a teacher that led directly to Neil Perry's death. Read this carefully, Todd. If you have nothing to add or amend, then sign it.
Todd takes the paper and reads it. He spends a long time doing so, and by the time he finishes it, his hands in the paper are shaking. Todd looks up.
What is going to happen to Mr. Keating?
What does that have to do with you?
That's all right. I want him to know. We're not yet clear as to whether Mr. Keating has broken any laws. If he has, he will be prosecuted. What we can do, and yours and the others' signatures will help to guarantee it, is see to it that Mr. Keating will never teach again.
Never.
I've had enough. Sign the paper, Todd.
Means everything to him.
Why? What do you care?
We don't care about me. He cares about me. You don't.
Sign the paper, Todd.
I won't sign it.
Todd.
It's not true. I won't sign it. Todd's father grabs the pen.
That's what I said. It's not true. I won't sign.
Okay, tries to put it back in Todd's hand. Nolan stands.
All right. We don't need his signature. Let him suffer the consequences. You think you can save Mr. Keating? You saw it, boy. We have the signatures of all the others. But if you don't sign, you're on disciplinary probation for the rest of the year. You'll do work duty every afternoon and every Saturday. And if you set foot off campus, you'll be expelled.
I won't sign.
Then I'll see you back here after classes. You may go.
Todd stands and exits. Nolan looks at Tolan's parents.
Don't worry. We'll bring him around.
Interior English classroom afternoon. The boys and the rest of the class are there. Conspicuously empty are Neil's desk and Charlie's desk. Todd looks numb. His eyes gaze downward, reminding us of the way that he looked when he first met him. Knox, Meeks, and Pitts, you look humiliated. All of the former club members are too ashamed of themselves to look at one another. Only Cameron looks halfway normal. He sits at his desk studying, as though nothing has happened. The door opens. In strides Mr. Nolan. All stand. Mr. Nolan sits at the teacher's desk. All sit down.
Since the semester is so near to a close, I will be taking over this class through exams. We will find a permanent English teacher during the Christmas holidays. Who would like to tell me where you are in the Hutton textbook? Mr. Anderson.
The Hutton.
I can't hear you, Mr. Anderson.
The Hutton.
Mr. Cameron, kindly inform me.
We skipped around a lot, sir. We
I
covered the
we-
romantics and most of the chapters on post-Civil War literature.
What about the realists?
I believe we skipped most of that.
Nolan flips through the text. The door to the classroom opens. Mr. Keating enters.
I came for my personals. Should I wait until after class?
Absolutely not. Get your things and get out. Gentlemen, turn to page 54. Mr. Cameron, read aloud the poem by Eugene Field.
Mr. Nolan, that page has been ripped out.
Then borrow somebody else's book.
They're all ripped out, sir.
What do you mean they're all ripped out?
Sir,
Never mind, Cameron. Here, read.
Little Boy Blue by Eugene Field. The little toy dog is covered with dust, but sturdy and stanch he stands. And the little toy soldier is red with rust, and his musket molds in his hands.
As Cameron continues reading, Keating, who's at the closet in the front of the corner of the room, looks out at the students. He sees Todd, whose eyes are full of tears. He sees Knox, Meeks, Pitts, too ashamed to look at him in the eye, but nevertheless full of emotion. The irony of Nolan choosing the little blue boy is too incredible. Keating finishes his packing. He walks across the room towards the door. Just as Keating reaches the door, Todd can no longer hold it in.
Sign it.
I know that, Todd.
Quiet, Mr. Anderson. Leave, Mr. Keating.
But it wasn't his fault, Mr. Neil's father. Neil will be an actor more than anything.
Nolan strikes
One more
and slaps Todd. The boy falls to the floor.
outburst, Mr. Anderson, or anyone else, and you are out of this school.
He turns to Keating, who has taken a few steps back towards Todd as though to help.
Leave now.
Keating just faces Nolan. He turns and faces the class.
Wonderful things are possible if we only dare dream them, boys. Be bold.
Get out.
The boys are staring at Keating. He stares at them, taking them in for the last time. Keating then moves towards the door.
Oh,
Say it again. Travis? What? Hey there?
I think he froze.
Damn it.
okay, yep. Captain.
Keating turns. So does everybody else. Todd pulls himself off the floor, props one foot up on his desk, and then stands on it. He stands atop his desk, holding back tears, facing Mr. Keating.
You little...
As Nolan moves down the aisle, Knox, whose seat is on the other side of the room, calls Mr. Keating's name and stands up on his desk too. Nolan turns to see this. Meeks musters his courage and stands on his desk. Pitts does the same one by one, and then in groups, the rest of the class follows suit. Soon the entire class is standing on their desks in silent salute to Mr. Keating. Nolan, who stared at Todd, then at Overstreet, stands motionless. He's amazed by this overwhelming response. Keating stands at the door, tears welling in his eyes.
Thank you, boys.
Keating looks into Todd's eyes and then into all of their eyes and gives a nod and then exits. Angle on each member of the Dead Poet Society standing at their desk. Meeks, Pitts, Knox, and then finally Todd, who is holding back tears but standing proud. Blackout, the end. Oh my gosh, thank you for watching this emotional roller coaster. We lost Jen. She has to go to work tomorrow morning, but everybody did a fantastic job. And if you're watching, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.